problem that I ran into. It was literally like click a button and it was good.
Oh, sorry. All right.
Yeah. Once I normally when I edit, once it gets to something good about, I'll start.
You don't have like a catchphrase starter? You don't have like a, hey, Ronnie's podcast, Thursday night. Wow.
That's one of the most fun parts. You
Yeah.
play the intro music, you lift it up, and you like, you say some stuff.
Welcome.
Yeah. What is that thing? What is that thing that Fetty Wap says? It's like, what is it like?
1738.
Yeah.
That sounded like a sports casting startup. Today, the New York Giants versus.
All right, now we can start.
All right.
Feels good.
Yeah. I've done this twice. So this is my second time ever doing this. So you pressure's on you, Ronnie.
Nah, I don't know what that is. You know,
I don't know what that is.
I started Novations recently. I want to tell you guys about this.
Yeah, I want to know.
I started Novations. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I got lazy, but I did find one thing interesting. Like I started Novations. We started investing a lot. We realized that like we're in a weird part. I want to hear what you have to say too. Oh, and you too.
What is Novations?
I'll get to
Oh, okay.
But just in general in real
It's
estate.
an old wooden ship during the Civil War era.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
But we saw that there's a disconnect again between the investor pricing and the retail seller.
Yeah, if it's a bridge for that, you're gonna do very well because I work with a lot of investors.
Yeah,
and that's the big gap.
Yep. So right now, like we're nowhere near what people want versus what we can offer. So there's a huge
people want a lot more than what you can offer.
Yes.
Because they're still stuck in 2020, 2021.
Yeah. Well, 23 was like the peak of that bullshit. And it seems like it came back. 24 seems like it was more promising. I just know because we were getting more off market. And then I feel like 25, we're not getting much off market again. And we're back to the bullshit. So, and like I said, now, especially that we're all over the country, it gives me like a nice, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not biased. It's not just like the Northeast. Like, it's all over.
It's a large sample pool.
Mm-hmm. So once we realize that, normally what we do is we do referrals, right? So so now we would give a cash offer and a retail referral offer. So like, I'll be like, hey, Vin, what do you think you can list this at? And Vin says 400, then we'll lock it up for him essentially at 400 and then send him in just to sign the paperwork. But we already negotiated the terms for him. So that's what we were doing. Problem with that is that like, then we started running into properties that were like, they were hot, but they were like 100,000. So it's like, we're getting 35% of the agent's commission on $100,000 is like, no one's happy. You know, so it's like what, two and a half, let's just say.
So you're saying 100,000 as in the price of the property.
Yeah, so 2.5 on that is what, 2,500. You're getting 35% of that.
Yeah, after the brokerage takes their fee and whatever else.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, like that is the answer, but it's like there's no spread. So we're like, fuck. So then we started learning more about Novations. So Novations is just I don't make it simple. Novations is when I guess a homeowner gives me permission to find someone else to purchase the property.
Yeah, so it seems like it's very similar to wholesaling.
Yeah.
How is it? That's what I was gonna say. How's it
So
different?
here's the wrinkle. I'm allowed to market the property on the MLS on their behalf. And
but not lock up the contract.
Yeah. Keep asking.
How are you not? Yeah. Why don't you have to be a broker to do that?
Because I have them agree to a limited POA where I can act in their behalf, so it allows me to list it for sale by owner.
Oh, so what do you charge them for that then?
I don't charge them anything. We agree on a price, and then anything I can make over on it is mine.
Yeah, which I don't actually think you can do as a broker.
Correct.
No. Yeah.
For the record, I literally just passed the state test for the broker license. Like, you know, I was a sales agent, but now I just passed the state test for brokerage.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Fresh in my mind.
Wait, you have the ability to start a brokerage?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we should talk then, man.
Okay.
I would love to, because if I can find the broker and explain this process, and if you're interested, we'll just run everything through you. You don't have to say yes. I'm just saying, like, we have someone now, but it's like, if I can make someone money that I know, Like we're doing everything. You're just getting your cut. Just saying. But something to think about.
Growing up in New Jersey, hearing that is like,
no, I mean, it's funny. It's completely legit.
I know.
I'm but it's crazy. So that's what we've been doing. So the big difference with this, right, is for one, it's the best part about this is that we have to be aggressively transparent, which I love. Like wholesaling is great, but then the other side to that is that like we try to get as close to as honest as possible, but there's still like a disconnect that you have to kind of keep. With this, you're telling them exactly what you're doing, which I love. I'm like, just to be, and we make them sign something before we accept the buyer that shows them exactly how much money we're making, it's just full disclosure across the board. So it's so much easier.
So what kind of seller does that work for? Why wouldn't they just go to market?
Good point. So, well, because we can act in their behalf, we do everything. And we cover any unexpected costs is on us. The burden is on us. So they're getting and it's not for everybody. They're getting the confidence that we're telling them like, look, you walk away with 400 no matter what. We're going to take care of everything else. So all you have to do is give me access to the property. That's it. And trust me, that's the hard part.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. And I act in their behalf. What we do personally is that we don't sign anything, even though we have the ability to with the POA. We got to notarize it and power of attorney, but we like having it, but we try to avoid it. So like we still have them sign everything. So they know, again, I want full disclosure. Like, look, you're signing, so you know exactly what I'm doing the whole way through.
I imagine power of attorney is a hard hurdle to cross for a lot of people.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's people make it harder because they lie about it. Yeah. Which is funny. You have to be completely
it's like lying to your doctor. Like I can't parameterize what we can do unless I know what we're dealing with.
Yep. So we tell them exactly, and we put it like, it's very plain English. It's like, we are allowed to list this property in your behalf, and we are allowed to only verbally accept offers and negotiate in your behalf. We cannot sign in your behalf. So basically, I'm just a big funnel that puts it like on your lap very easy, and then we control the transaction. So for them, it's like, that's the thing. So we make it very easy for them.
So
is there
for you or for the seller, is there any advantage relative or compared to like a wholesale? Is there an advantage? Because it's okay.
So
or disadvantage, whatever.
Yeah, for sure. So if you want more money, you allow me to go out in the market with it, and now I can, like right now I have a deal in Tom's River, for example, that I was able to find like cash. I was only able to get like, let's say 415, 420, but investors, now that it's listed, will come to me now and be like, yo, can I get it with a loan? Like, and I'll pay you 450.
And I'm guessing,
and I'll be like, yeah, go ahead.
And I'm guessing you don't have to come up with earnest money. I'm guessing you don't have to, never necessarily do any kind of double closes to get around certain things when it comes to wholesaling. Like that's another thing I'm guessing.
That's like
zero money coming out of your pocket.
Actually, I would prefer wholesaling because there is a thing about it. Like now you're talking about having to list it, having to fill everything out, having to like figure out showings. Like you're basically doing everything that a for sale by owner would do, because you are acting as it. So there's
attorney. That's how you get around not being a broker or
correct.
A realtor.
Yeah. And I do need a broker. So like once I fucking got into this world, there's systems and websites and companies that this is what they cater to. I was like, oh shit, it's a whole world out here. Like they have brokers ready, and I was like, oh, that's when we started talking. Like, should we open a brokerage? Like, we, like just to work with somebody or with ourselves. Like, since we're gonna be like, we have right now 6 or 7 active novations right now. So it's like,
it sounds like the ideal, like the avatar for this would be someone who has tried FSBO, and then they're not successful, and now they're hoping to like still make the money that they want.
Yeah, and that's the conversation we have. But look, you wanna close in 30 days? This is our number. If you want to go with an agent, the traditional way, this is probably like, we spoke to our agent. This is our referral. This is what they said they can sell your house at. there's a middle ground where it's not as much as maybe, you know, that you can get if you list it, whatever. But I'm like, but we can at least, we'll handle everything. So all that. So basically we remove all the headaches that people talk about when working with agents.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we're a little, I'm not talking about the top 10% of agents because everyone in the top 10 is nice. I'm not talking about those people. Everybody else, we're for the most part going to be savvier, better, more experienced than anyone who's not in that top 10%. So that's the other thing too. Like one of the ladies was like, "Oh, I see." Like I was like, "What?" She's like, "No." She's like, "You the way you talk to attorneys, like I see what you're saying. Like, you know, like there's experience behind what I'm saying." So she asked me why I did that, and then I explained. She was like, "Oh," she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
like yeah." I almost said like I know what I'm doing. Kind of.
Have you guys tested the water in commercial space?
No, we haven't touched. We don't touch commercial at all. But I guess sorry. So that's novations essentially. I don't know if I did a good job explaining it, but
I think you did.
okay. But before I started this, my first 11 novations, I went and I 0 for 11.
Oh,
And I think what happened to me was, you know, like okay, you learn like you jump into something, you learn it, you put in the hours, then you get better at it, and then eventually you produce. I don't know what happened, but I guess I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if I just didn't catch it, but I had this false sense of confidence when I started this.
Pride.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm still processing like, what the fuck, Ronnie? So I just went in with this confidence, like, yeah, like we got it.
Like, it
Like
might be like kind of like a wrestler getting into jiu-jitsu. Like you understand a lot of the tenets, but it's a different sport.
yeah. So I definitely something along those lines. I don't know because I want to pinpoint it, but yeah, it has to be something along. And it was crazy. It was super. I read a book that luck, thank God I was reading it. I didn't even have it, like I just reading because it was just a book and I had nothing to read. And it said one line and I was like, oh, that's what it is. It said hunting discomfort.
Hunting discomfort.
Yeah.
Looking for discomfort.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's where you grow.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that he quotes somebody, it was like this person that climbs mountain, and such a good point. It said the advantage that I have over the mountain is that every time I fail, I go back and I can grow. That mountain stays the same. And I was like, oh, that's so true. Like, you know, you got to have the mindset of just keep getting better. Like, don't even worry about the mountain. It's not going anywhere, right? Like, it's set. Like,
yeah. I listened to some Alex Ramosi said something like that, akin to that today when I was on YouTube or whatever. But it was like, you know, people, when they wipe out, they think they have to start from scratch again. It's like technically you can never start from scratch except for one time because you take back the lessons you learned. I mean, period. So you really, maybe you don't have the resources, maybe as much time as energy, but you have more knowledge, like in general. And like you said, the mountain, it stays the same.
Yeah, but perspective has to change, right? Like now, I guess I'm the huge turnaround. I'm in the middle of the turnaround. I already have 2 under contract. Like my process have gotten tighter, but it was nice. Like it was just like, yo, Ronnie, like you gotta, again, like you have to treat everything with the respect that it needs, right? Like who do you think you are thinking you're just gonna jump into something? Like, and I forgot, and I always tell myself that. I always try to look at a water bottle and be like, it didn't just get here. Like it took so much for this water bottle to get here, and I completely like just lost touch with that. That scared the shit out of me because you know, like this is what it's all about. Like it's as corny, it's all about the journey. Like
100%.
why the fuck did I try to cut through and think that like I made it already? Like that was silly.
There's a lesson in that though. Complacency is very pernicious. Nobody chooses to be complacent typically. It's just it kind of sets in slowly.
Yeah, bro.
You know? And it sounds like, you know, that was a great lesson in that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, and a lot of people do that. Isn't that like what you guys probably know? Is that what the Dunning-Kruger effect is? Is like when you're good at something, so you assume that you'll be good, you know, you're professional in something, and therefore you'll assume that you'll act as though you know more about it than you might actually know. Is that what it is?
it's similar.
I don't remember.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm somebody's gonna think I'm stupid, but
Yeah. No, I think it's just more like people who really, really think that they're super smart are actually not as smart as people who think that they're not that smart.
yeah, it's
Because the not that smart people realize like
I'm not.
there are a lot smarter people out in the world. So yeah, it's just the relativity of it.
I will say ignorance has its ignorance has its benefits. 100%. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I got a friend of mine who's like a large investor, you know, worth, I mean, 9 figures. And I was talking to him about like a mistake that I made and everything else. And he was telling me, he told me about Steven Spielberg. He said, they've interviewed Steven Spielberg, and when they bring up Jaws, he's like, "Oh, I would never make that movie again." I mean, I didn't actually see the interview; I'm just going off the story. But he's like, "Oh, if I knew what I knew now," because what he says, "If I knew what I knew now, I would never have done that ever because it's impossible. It was such a feat at the time with the technology and everything else. I would never." But because he didn't know any better, he jumped in, and he was forced to figure it out. And sometimes those, you know, that adversity, that resistance of being forced to figuring it out and having the tailwind of ignorance, thinking like, well, there has to be a way because you don't know any better. Sometimes that's exactly what you need to make a way.
That's what kind of Ryan told me. He's like, yeah, but he's like, if we weren't doing that, then technically we wouldn't really have a solution and we would have nothing really in our funnel, right? Because the cash offers weren't going through. So we would just have a bunch of referral listings. But like, we don't want that. Like, we want action. So it's like, even though we were 0 for 11, he's like, now we figured it out. So that's going to turn around. And now we have something in the middle. So to your point, but still in between that, it was brutal.
How's it going now with innovations?
Oh, well.
Yeah, good.
Let's see. I'm closing one on the 30th, my first one this year. And I have one that I just got under contract and I just put up 4 in the last like 6 days. And systems and processes, I've like gotten way tighter, new service. You know what it is? You start once you realize it's a journey, now you can be like, okay, there's no rush. Like, it's the infinite game. Like, just improve one aspect. Okay, you got it. Improve. Back to like what I normally do. Like, I just lost. I don't know what happened. I lost touch with that.
Healthy attitude though. Extremely healthy with that attitude.
Now.
So here's the rub though. How did you make the transition? How did you become aware that you were trying to skip ahead? How did you become aware of that? Because that's the part where if you can manipulate that, maybe it never has to happen again.
That's where I'm at now. I don't know exactly what it was. I know a couple of things that keep running through my mind was, I know Michael and Ryan in their fucking philosophical ways, they didn't tell me like they were like, we're gonna let him figure it out. Cause I was like, yo, I can't figure this out, guys. So we should just hire somebody. And they were like, you sure? I was like, yeah. They were like, okay. And I'm, and now I'm like, these motherfuckers, like, they knew that if they were like, I was probably defensive at that moment. So if they said like, no, you got, like, I'm going to be like, no, I don't got shit. Like, I'm not doing it. So, they were just like, he'll come back, I guess. Like, I don't know. And yeah, like weeks went by and I'm like reading, just trying to think, like just reflecting. I'm like, yo, I've never, like anything I wanted to do, I've never felt defeated. I've never been good from the get. I'm used to that. I'm never good at something in the beginning. That's normal. But I've never given up on something that I've decided to do.
Oh, that's the superpower.
Yeah, the persistence, that's by far my superpower. Like,
that's Batman's superpower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like adapting, overcoming, like that's amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure. But why did I all of a sudden say, like, why did I allow myself to be defeated?
No, I think that's the part that's normal. I think that's going to happen every time, right? Like, because you're doing new things. When you do new things, like you said, you're not going to be good at it. I guess your definition of defeated is a bit different also there, but
that's what, yeah, it's exactly. Not like with the thing, just like kind of giving up.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck did I say? Like,
you fell below your baseline, and then it was like an inverse bell curve, and then your resilience is what brought you back up. I mean, essentially, yeah, you're gonna, like to Prince's point, you're gonna fall into that. It's what do you do when you fall?
That's the thing.
It sounds like your reflex is like, nah, fuck that. Like it sounds like your reflex, and maybe it took some psychology from the other guys, but it sounds like it triggered your reflex, which was like to not give up.
So I was thinking about this because Melissa and I are in couples therapy, right? And we were talking about perspective, right? And like how we are as parents. And what was interesting was like there was this this tension where I was like, I don't really feel good like telling you when I see something that I feel like I've heard you say that you want to get better at, because I feel like I'm not the freaking perfect parent and I'm not the judge of you, you know? And then I was just like, yeah, but at the same time, I'm just going to have a different perspective. And I think it's what's really cool about that. The other thing that popped into my head at the time was like, I think that's why God like really focuses on people to people relationships, because we're always going to have different perspectives than ourselves living in our skin. And I think the way to like really use that to become better is like maybe what Ryan and Michael had done for you is something that you probably could have done for yourself, but it would be much easier for someone from the outside looking and understanding you to a certain extent to like give you that spark, you know, or to like maybe hold a mirror up for you, or whatever the thing is that's going to come from that outside that is just going to push you to the next thing, right? And it's like thinking with that as a parent is like, you know, one of the things that we had to like reconnect with is this idea of not only do like not yes, there's tension in like holding up the mirror for someone, but it's like that's why we're together. Like I want you to hold up the mirror to me and say like, you know, in with the most love possible, like you're fucking up. Like you said that you wanted to be this person, and you said that you wanted to be this type of dad or this type of husband. Look at what's happening. Is that the case? Do you think that you're living up to that? Right. And then I get to choose and say like, oh shit, like I didn't realize I haven't been. Or I might have some other response. I might be like, oh yeah, I have been. You let me just tell you why your perspective is a little off, or whatever the case may be. But it's very interesting to have that in a way. Like I feel like you're lucky to have people to tell you or to kind of influence you in a way that makes you better, not in a way that's gonna like tear you down, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they could have easily been like, yo, you suck.
Right.
Right? Like, you're 0 for 11, bro. You're costing us hella money. Like, you got to stop this, you know, for sure. But, yeah, no, I'm definitely appreciative of them, for sure, because of shit like that. Like,
Now, analogy that comes to mind is like, but I'm not even a gamer, but first person versus third person perspective, you can just see more. And same thing with like basketball. Like, why wouldn't he pass it? There was a guy right there. Why didn't he? Because when you're in the game, you don't necessarily see everything you see when you're watching the game.
Yep.
You know, and it's not
That's
necessarily
the importance of coaches.
Yeah, it's not necessarily hypocritical because the coach isn't an NBA player for him to coach. It's like, well, I can't tell. Why would I tell? It's like, don't get me wrong. Like self-awareness is amazing. It sounds like you have really great self-awareness. But I think there's a humility, self-awareness, humility, fantastic. But I think like anything, when it goes too far to that degree, that it can be paralyzing, and then there's no more utility. If the coach is like, well, I can never make that 3-point shot, doesn't matter. You're aware of that person. One, you know their goals. You want to hold them accountable, and you might have a sometimes better idea of what they're capable of, maybe more so than they do. Like case in point. It seems like.
Oh yeah, it was cool, man. It was the first time I guess in a while that I guess because it's the first time I'm doing something new.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to get checked.
Yeah. No, 1,000%.
100%. It's good for you.
I was gonna say it's a great thing. It's a really good thing.
And the feedback loop is so much longer. Like with jiu-jitsu and stuff, to compare, it's like immediate, right? So it's like, oh, don't do that, Ronnie. Like he told you not to do that. I slightly passed out for the first time this week.
Just a little, not a lot.
For a little bit. Literally for a little bit.
1 star, 2, 3, maybe.
I was like, oh shit, where am I? And I'm like, oh, I'm getting choked. And I was like, I was trying to figure out how to get out of a choke, because I was like, I'm not in danger, because he only had one thing. So I was like, I can still breathe through here. So I was like, if I move forward, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, if I move to the side, he's gonna get. And I was like, and then I'm like, oh shit, I just woke up. I was like, oh fuck.
What was it?
No.
What did he have you in?
He had me in a, was it it's
was
weird.
It gi or no gi?
It was, I only do no gi. It was some kind of triangle, but he had his super flexible kid. He had his foot in front somehow.
Oh yeah, that's the go-go plata.
Yes. So now, Coach, I was like, it's a triangle, right? What do you do? I'm like, oh fuck, I just
Oh,
go
was it
forward.
triangle?
I mean, no, he's like, think of it like a triangle because that's basically what it is. He's like, just move forward. I literally thought about sideways, going back, and I was like, fuck, I'm stuck. I'm like, he can't finish, but I don't know what to do. But I guess just, even though it's just
with time.
with time, I just literally like lightly passed out. And then I'm like, oh shit. It's like, let me tap and ask him what to do instead of fucking hang around. But yeah, so the feedback loop was also, that was another thing too. So like, you don't know how you're doing, and then all of a sudden this shit just is compounding, and then all of a sudden it's like didn't work, and I'm like, oh shit, like I thought I was doing my thing. And yeah,
We touch the stove.
Yep.
Sometimes you are, and sometimes it's in. I know people hate when you say it's always better to learn from third person perspective, but sometimes lessons don't set in as well until you learn in first person.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
for sure.
Steep, man, crazy.
What about you guys? Any breakthroughs
Breakthrough.
or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on stuff. So as you guys know, like obviously started off flipping houses, then moved on to like refinancing, renting, sold that, got into commercial real estate, had some success, some big fuck ups. More than happy to talk about the fuck ups. I want everybody to learn. So third person, so they don't feel the burn that I'm feeling. But then I got my real estate license, as you know, almost 2 years ago. Just about almost 2 years now. Didn't take it serious. I only got it for the tax reasons, like to be a real estate professional. The tax, I can appreciate that against my wife's income and everything else. I started doing it a little bit, met up with a commercial broker, and I love the commercial space, but I was in a residential shop, and there's just nobody there that was able to. I was the expert, which is not
Get the fuck out of there.
The fuck out. Like, I was a newbie, relatively speaking, and I knew more than they just didn't know. Like I read all the books and everything else, and I had a commercial property, and I've helped people underwrite commercial properties, but dude, it was not the right atmosphere. So luckily the guy who was the manager was like, Paul, you really got to meet this guy, Jamie Diorio, and he's brilliant, yada, yada, yada. Brought him in. He met me. I mean, this guy's like he's like top in commercial real estate. It's saying a lot, but he's well within the top 1% of brokers.
Nice.
But all intelligence wise and just integrity wise and just, the intangible quality wise, top 1%, like just phenomenal guy. But he was originally an engineer, structural engineer. Then he was, I think he was a CM for a large company in New York, but he helped manage the Borgata Casino, the Trump Towers, like, big stuff as an engineer. And I think it was a CM. Anyway, long story short, life happens to him. He needs more autonomy, becomes a broker, finds his way. He's in it now for, I don't know, maybe 16, 17 years, has all the stripes, knows development, knows, retail, large multifamily, everything, industrial space, whatever, you name it. And again, I had familiarity and maybe a little more than just familiarity, but after meeting with me, I guess he liked me or whatever. We talked for over an hour about business principles, what I thought, and underwriting and how I do it and everything else. And he was like, listen, I'm starting a team. I'd like you to join. Wasn't sure I wanted to go that route. I told him, my business comes first. I'm, buying properties, flipping, whatever it is, or trying to, do value adds and everything else. And as I started doing it, I just fell in love with the process. Like it was so exciting. It was the knowledge curve was intense. Like, in the beginning, you always learn more than just a depreciating return, but you're still going up. So it was like this, and I met him and started working with him, and it just skyrocketed. And like the knowledge base of how to find the knowledge base skyrocketed. And I had a person finally, like Ryan was to you, like a third person's perspective on things, like a real coach, a real mentor, and everything else. And I just fell in love with the process. So now I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to invest for like the next few years. I want to focus on my income and get really good at this. I want to be the best at this. And I've been pretty fortunate. I've only been doing that with him, like seriously, maybe 10 months, but 3 or 4 of those months I was in school for brokerage full time. So not that long, and I'm lucky. I mean, right now I have a $20,250,000 listing. It's my first listing. I just closed on a warehouse, a pretty good sized warehouse in Linden, right off 1 and 9. Then what else? This week alone, it was nice feedback. I showed, and I'm actually putting in, actually, I can't say the offer probably, but
Wait, so how many? So you closed one.
Yep.
You have one active.
Yep.
And
there's a lot of that stuff kind of happens off market. I'm noticing finding buyers, finding sellers, and everything else, and connecting them, collecting fee or whatever. Again, newer at this, and almost half the time I was doing the brokerage stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, for how long I've been doing it, as I understand, it's been going really well. Like I was going to say, is this week alone? It's only Thursday. I showed a $12.5 million property to a very competent buyer. I showed an $8.5 million property to a very competent buyer. And I showed my listing to multiple people, which is a $20,250,000 listing, which is over.
Wait. So this is cool. So so how did you get? So how are you marketing? Well, I guess what side do you attack? Both sides.
Again, learning, right?
Yeah.
Through hardship. I try to go after. I want the listings. You want to control inventory if you can.
Okay. Makes sense.
So again, I didn't know that in the beginning. Everything seems so exciting. Like I got this guy who wants to invest $15 million and he has proof of funds and everything else. And he's like, yeah, and I'm looking for like a 9 cap industrial space in Linden on 1 and 9 over 50,000 square feet that I can, compress into a 6 cap. And I'm like, okay. And then like you go looking for it. And it's like, he's basically trying to be like, you're my truffle pig. And which, by the way, I cold call. I do everything I can to find, because if I can find those deals, I can find a buyer. The buyer's easy. Yeah. Like finding the deal is hard, but some of them give you like impossible tasks, or they don't have I shouldn't say impossible. They don't have realistic expectation. They're looking for truffle pigs. They're trying to send out brokers to cold call on their behalf and everything else. And I do it for all my clients and everything else. I have a lot of buyers that I work with. I'm growing relationships. I'm newer at it, but the ideal place to go is find the deal / either a listing. It doesn't have to be a listing, but can I sell your building? If it's at a transactable number or with transactable terms, it's easy.
Yeah. How you pick, like, what lead gen? What's that? Like, what does that look like?
Right now, cold call, networking. That's it. Just cold calling, networking. I go on CoStar and essentially, I build lists out kind of like PropStream or something like that. Build lists out, try to contact people, knock on doors. I've done that, knocking on doors. Go to ICSE, which is a large thing in Manhattan. That's actually how I got the first listing I just told you about that we just put on the market. I went to ICSE.
What's that?
ICSE. So it's like a
ICC?
ICSE.
ICSE.
Yeah. Or ICSC. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But it's essentially, it was my first time going, but it's where it's at the Javits Center, and like, all the large retailers will go. Walmart, Starbucks, they all have different booths, and they give you the parameters of what they're looking for, what they're searching for, and everything else. Like there's another property on 1 and 9 right now. One's about 4.5 acres and one is about 1.6 acres right by each other at a signalized intersection, which makes it very valuable with over 60,000 vehicles passing per day for like quick checks and stuff like that. Obviously you got to get check zoning. There's a lot of nuance to it, but, I'm talking to that guy. He's I'm trying to find a buyer from him. I don't have it locked up. And I always kind of joke like, hey, broker's got to be a broker, man. Can I get this exclusive or anything else? Because that protects me. I'm putting time.
Of course. Yeah.
If I have that protection, naturally I can feel more comfortable putting time and energy into it. Cause I know that like at the end of the day, somebody else isn't going to collect my fee. I still have a family. I got to feed and everything else. So, yeah, man, like, what was the original question? I think I just,
no. I mean, this is great. This sounds like what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. I cold call lead gen. So cold call, knock on doors, go to conventions. I'm going to another one, I think in about a week, which is a bunch of investors and everything else. Honestly, I go, golf outings. I'm terrible at golf. I like it. It's fun. Not good.
Yeah.
But another guy is letting me sell like a portfolio of his. Again, haven't gotten the exclusive. We're working on that, but, good portfolio, really good numbers. And that's the ones I like to work on. If I can underwrite a deal. So I can tell this is a real deal. It has legs. I'm like, all right, I can put some time and energy into it. And I can get at least like a fee agreement. Like, all right, if I find her, I'm getting this fee, right? So there's been multiple cases with that. I mean, I have other holes in the fire than just my exclusive listing. But that's the main one I'm pushing right now. But no, yeah, I'm always doing lead gen. I just made a schedule for myself to do like lead gen for these hours every day. And then for these hours to schedule all my meetings and to schedule, meetings and showings and stuff like that. I'm trying to keep it compartmentalized. It's very difficult as when you're newer in something, keeping yourself oriented and organized and focused within that organization. There's so much. You can go in space. You can go any which way you want. You have to pick a direction and try to stay on point.
That's cool. That's cool to me. The fact that you said that it's a lot of also off market stuff, because that just opens up
That's
so many doors. Yeah,
that's the best, because
that's literally the best.
maybe I can, maybe I can list it for you. Maybe you don't want to list it, but maybe you're willing to sell it. Maybe it just depends. If it's on market as a broker, like, look, I might find a buyer, but when it's on market, it gets so competitive.
That's what it is.
Especially if it's well marketed. It gets so competitive that like it's hard to help buyers. It's really hard, especially if it's a user. They're more reasonable. Like people who are buying warehouse to use, or people who are buying retail to use for themselves, they're willing to pay market more often. They need the location.
That makes sense, right?
But the investor, man, they want the delta.
Yeah.
Right. They want to be able to profit, or they want like a higher cash flow.
It's literally the same thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little different, but it literally sounds exactly like
it's probably the same principles and just like a different domain.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Slightly different nuance. Maybe zoning doesn't matter as much for you guys, or maybe what was I going to say? Yeah, maybe zoning doesn't matter as much for you guys. Maybe people aren't looking at like cap rates as much as you guys.
Yeah, they say underwriting's different, all that, but
yeah,
principle, like you said, principles. Yeah, you want to fucking you want to be a gate. What we tell ourselves, like, we want to be gatekeepers.
I want to be a bridge, man. Like
yeah,
I want to. Bridge is funnel, by the way, like a gate. Yeah. Like I want to be a bridge, man. I want to connect the right person with the right properties, or the right assets. I mean,
you're so much nicer. That sounds way nicer than what I want. Like, I control who comes and buys it.
I mean, you're probably going to be more successful with your mentality, but man, I really just want to build a bridge from this asset to that. You know, that person wants to own that asset. And I mean, now I'm at the point where I'm wondering, do I specialize? Do I just stick? I really love large multifamily.
Yeah,
love large multifamily. I also love development. And sometimes there's overlap. I really love development. On top, the other side of that is like the nuance that comes along with it. Like, okay, are there pilots? Is it in this type of zoning? What type of value? What is the square foot ratio relative to the area? So is there potential value add here? Just analyzing what's it going to cost per square foot, what people are buying, what's the standard of difference when they're going to profit? Because these things are really expensive. Like if you want to open a quick check, you're going to probably spend $500,000 to get approvals, and you might not get approved.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's nuts.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's
just
like,
based on zoning, or
zoning approvals. And it could take years. I mean, think about it, a lot of times. Well, look, you need traffic specialists, you need engineers, you need civil engineers to get involved. Sometimes you have to create another signalized intersection. So you have to get a curb cut if it's on a county road, if it's on a state road. Like there's a lot of nuance into it. And land use attorneys are involved. I mean, and if the town wants it and zone it properly for it, it's probably easier. But I mean, these guys are really competing for very similar lot spaces. A signalized intersection is what they want oftentimes. Like the large retailers, like on like highways, they really want a signalized intersection where they stop. They want a left in, left out. They want to be able to have easy access possible. Can you go in this way? Can you go out this way? Can you go in that way? They also need parking. How many pumps can you have? Is it even zoned for that? Do you have to get approvals? Then oftentimes it's, you know, is there something you have to currently knock down, level out, whatever else? But yeah, you need a lot of people to pass. You need accessibility. You need to be in the right demographics. That's a huge part of it. You want to be, a lot of them want to be on other retailers because it's, you know,
sense.
Yeah. And, it's expensive shit, man. I know a guy like the one I just told you about, the guy wants, it's not too far. I'm not going to get into that, but he wants $2.5 million an acre. And you know, when it comes,
that's crazy.
Yeah. And then
so crazy.
Yeah,
that's such a crazy thing to say.
But these are often,
no, of course, it's all relative.
These are subject to deals.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I'm subject to, and big risk. The guy, they're going to take it because they know, hey, okay, subject to approvals. Okay, cool. This guy's going to put $200,000 to $500,000 into the approval, and he might not get it. Yeah. Like, and you call the townships. You look.
Of course, yeah. Relationship.
It's basically like what you were saying before. I mean, it's the same principles, but it's like 100x. You know, it's like,
well, yeah, it's the same, but it's hyper rewarding, hyper risky, hyper rewarding.
Right. Of course, sure.
So like, you know, quick check. You know, you say you want to buy 1.5 acres. Say you can, say you want to buy 1.5 acres, and say you can get in at like different areas, different prices. I would say you get in at $2 million. Say it costs you, you get approvals for another, you know, just call it for $500,000 to make it easier. 2.5. It builds for 1.5. It's 4. I mean, it might be worth 6 to 7 million. I mean, it's a pretty, you know, I mean, there's other things that go in return, because what happens is it's a ground lease. Oftentimes there's not, I'm not just saying quick check, I'm saying in general, there's a lot of ground leases in the retail space. So you don't have, you're a mailbox landlord. Quick check doesn't want to deal with you. You don't want to deal with them. Yeah. Now, when it's a ground lease, you don't get the benefits of the depreciation, but you own the ground. And it, you know, if it's a 5.7 cap or 5.8 cap. I mean, it's a 30-year lease, corporate guaranteed by Quick Check or Starbucks or whoever else. And then you have the triple net leases, and they might not compress as much. It depends on how strong the guarantee is oftentimes by the corporation. It's risk reward, right? Less risk, stronger guarantees.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It compresses the return.
Yep. That's fucking interesting.
I think that you have a very unique view of real estate, just like across a gamut between like retail and commercial. At least so far, I know that you're not super deep in commercial yet, but I feel like you
become my life. Trust me. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I mean, I guess technically I am.
Well, time wise, because you said you've only been doing it for 2 years, right?
Commercial? No, I mean, that's like as a broker, but like, actually, no, I would say my commercial experience started about 4 years ago.
4 years. Okay. 4 years. You said you're the guy that you're talking to has been doing it for like what, 17 or 20?
No, that's when he started his broker side of it, but he was in the other side, like developing side of it before that.
Right. So like relatively, what I'm saying is like you haven't been in it that long, but I feel like you have a strong perspective on both sides of it. Where do you feel like there's more? Maybe it needs to be more specific, but I'm thinking like, where do you feel like there's more opportunity? Specifically, let's get into specifics. So specifically in the Northeast, specifically perhaps New York, New Jersey, and for someone who's working at like a, I don't know, $2.5 million like buy.
What asset class? Retail?
Between the two.
Between retail and what else?
Between commercial and retail.
So
like between commercial and residential, rather.
Okay, I was gonna say because
sorry,
both under the commercial umbrella. So when you say commercial residential, you mean like 5 units and up?
Yes.
So
versus like 4 units and down.
It's a different. It's hard to say because it seems like a different place. So you can make a lot of money in retail if you know how to reposition properly. So if you can
now, when you say retail, you're talking about retail commercial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because I know retail buyers and everything else. So,
right.
Retail, commercial retail space. If you can reposition, you can make a shit ton of money. I'll give you an example, which obviously easier said than done. But you find a bank, it's at a signalized intersection or whatever else. It's already got a drive through there, and it's, I don't know, maybe it's on 1.5 acres or 1.2 acres or whatever. Talk about, everybody has different criteria. But it's an old bank, it's abandoned, whatever else. You pick it up for $1 million. And it's already approved for a lot of the other stuff. You reposition it into
Starbucks,
You bought it, exactly. You kind of bought it for square foot, whatever else. You reposition it into that. Now it's going to massively compress relative to the the guarantee, but also the terms, like the contract. So if you're getting, I mean, I don't ever got a calculator, but essentially if you're getting like a 20, 30 year note with a built-in raise at market rates for Starbucks in that kind of retail space, I mean, they pay well. It depends where you're at. I mean, it depends on the highway you're at.
For sure.
You're at, depends on the demographics, how much they're going to pay, but roughly probably around 7 to 10% of whatever their gross revenue is projected to be.
The question is really more towards like, but where is there more opportunity? I feel like
more options or opportunity. When you say opportunity, do you mean more opportunity is like a larger return or more options?
Opportunity includes options. And I feel like that's one of the challenges right now with 4 and below, with non-commercial real estate, where it's like the opportunities are super hard to find. It's like, I was talking to my realtor recently and I figured out that I can back into my maximum buy number based on market rents. So I was like, oh, I'm familiar enough now with expenses. I'm definitely familiar with market rents. I can figure out what the max I could pay for a property is, plus minus renovations.
Yeah, you're not projecting anymore.
Yeah,
you're using, you're not even other people. I'm not using your numbers.
Exactly. And like, it's not like it's a straight number. Like it's a real specific number. And then what I said to her was like, what's really awesome about this, and I got this from her actually, Cecilia, if you're listening, you're amazing. We have great conversations, and she helped me. Like in the conversation, the light bulb went off for me that like, oh, I can back into this number. And guess what? Once I back into this number, which I've done, if I'm seeing in the market that number just doesn't exist, I'm never, like, all this looking that I'm doing is for nothing. I'm never going to find this unicorn. It's just not going to happen.
Do you want me to give you a really shitty, unsatisfying answer? The really shitty, unsatisfying answer is obviously opportunity is going to be relative to the person looking and what they're looking for, yada, yada, yada. But as far as like retail space versus larger multifamily or whatever else, where's the opportunity? There's dedicated people looking for both. So I would say it's somewhat similar. I know.
But is there more trading on the commercial side? I feel, or
like more transactions?
Yeah, more transactions. Like I feel like maybe
I would argue that there's less, no?
On which part?
Just in general on the commercial side.
Well, when you say commercial, do you mean large residential?
Just what you do. How about, well, I'll say
all of it.
Yeah, but compared to residential, it would be less movement, right?
I mean, as a broker, I mean, you're going to close on more properties if you're doing like single family homes or whatever, then very likely at least, than if you're selling investment assets. Like
that's what I'm saying.
$40 million buildings.
Yeah,
probably. But I mean, investment sales are, down, right? I mean, the cost of money affects that dramatically, and everything else affects people's return. Therefore, it affects their investment, especially when for less risk, you can go into the bond market and way less return. People always forget to calculate the internal rate of return. I hate when people say, "Oh, 6 cap, I can get 5% in the bond market." I'm like, okay, but you got your debt pay down, your appreciation, and they know this, dude. Buyers, they kick tires, dude. And it's like, why do I have to tell you? You know this, and if you don't know this, what are you doing?
Yeah, stop talking.
Stop talking. Go like fucking on I don't know, Bigger Pockets or something. Like no, which I love Bigger Pockets. I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying, like, this is like, I don't want to say it's 101, but it's 102 maybe. But yeah, so where's there more like transactions out of the two? I don't know. It depends, because on the commercial side of residential, it depends how big you go. Like if you're a 5, you're commercial if you're 5 units, right? So 5 units versus 55. Honestly, 50 units and up is pretty reasonable, because there's an economies of scale that comes into property management once you hit 50. Man, let me get like 3 more years experience and I'll get back to you.
I think the ability, I think the first step is what you just came up with, which is like, am I wasting my time? Let me just run the numbers real quick and see if this exists. Yeah. And then number 2 is, the more important thing is like, okay, with that being said, what am I willing to change my approach, or am I willing to wait? And waiting is fine.
Or what I'm choosing to do in the meantime. That was my thought just now. It's like, so what are all the people like me doing where the numbers just don't work? But my thought is like, I'm just going to go look at other markets. Like I'm going to look at Dallas. I'm going to look at Knoxville. I'm going to look at other markets where the numbers may work.
Possibly. That's all it is.
You can have massive reward in either side of things, right? And there's some people that far prefer one over the other for the different management styles and everything else. To me, so far, it seems pretty, as our opportunity goes, it seems relatively similar, man. Like I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you, industrial is hyper competitive still. Like warehouse space and stuff. Yeah, hyper competitive. Retail space can be very competitive, especially if it's good. It's good land. Yeah, that's the thing. It's good land. So, if you don't mind putting in a lot of work, you can try to put assemblages together. That can be very profitable in the right area. Like, you get if you're in a place that just got zoned redevelopment, and you connect, the 4 greenhouses to make the one big hotel. These different sites, you can then get approvals for, say 50 units. And remember, a lot goes into it. You have to look at the parking ratios, you have to look at all these different things. But if you can do that, you can make a lot of money assembling. That's how a lot of developers make a lot of money.
It seems like the challenge there, though, is also like,
that's time
with the everything goes up, right? It's not any one component. It's not the risk that just goes up alone. It's not the profits that can go up alone. It's like everything, the due diligence, everything just goes
the nuance
bigger.
Too, though. I think a lot of people might think they're going to make more money than they like. You can lose money on this stuff pretty easily.
Yep, that's right. Because if you think that you can just jump into an industry that you've never gone into and just make money instantly, you're going to go 0 for 11.
Yeah. From a guy I know. No, but yeah, man, like in this kind of stuff, bro, you can lose a lot, especially when you're taking out like hard money loans to buy these properties, because you're projecting it's going to be worth this much. And you made certain mistakes. You underwrote it, say, per bedroom, like, oh, all these 2 bedrooms rent this way, but you can underwrite it by square foot. But those 2 bedrooms were 1,100 square feet versus yours that are 800 square feet.
Yeah.
Right.
And
then shit that doesn't even, you have zero control over. The city might just change an ordinance and you're just like, what the fuck is happening right now? And there's a
lot that goes into it. And I I want people to do it. I think people should do it. I want to do it. You know what I mean? But
I think you just need so much money that
No.
you just don't fucking.
You know what's funny? I think it's not that at all.
Really?
I think you need opportunity.
I'll tell you what, right now, yeah, if you
What's the opportunity without the cash? I mean, you got to get it from somewhere.
And watch this, if I don't have money and I come up with a monster opportunity, I bet you guys will give me the money.
yeah, or I'll get you the fucking money.
right.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's not the money. The money will 100% find the opportunity.
I think the reason why I say the money is because I could change that to you need people with the appetite, right? The appetite, the risk appetite. Maybe that's what I'm talking about. Because when I say you need money, I mean the cushion of the money. Meaning, like, to your point, the same thing applies. You can win real big, but then you can also lose real big too. And if you're not going to recover from that, if it's going to put you homeless in the street, the chances of you wanting to do that is going to be very low.
I think that's very important what you said. I think it's important to keep that in mind. I also think that the people that have a lot of success, I'm speculating, it seems like people have a lot of success in these types of endeavors, taper their risk appetite relative to their knowledge and experience. And if they can't, then they'll try to taper it to.
What about the you don't know what you don't know part? I guess that's where that outside perspective comes.
100%. And then you have
a little bit of faith.
I mean, I can't. I've learned big lessons. I made big mistakes on not knowing what I don't know. I didn't even know what to ask. And I thought about it. How can I correct this in the future? It's like, okay, whatever it takes, find somebody who's done it. Find somebody who's done it in this marketplace. Find somebody who work. Yes. Find somebody who's done it. Find somebody who's done it in this marketplace. Talk to them. Talk to their friends. Talk to as many people.
Hell yeah.
And what am I missing? Am I missing anything? What am I missing? Please make me look dumb. You know what I mean? If it proves that's like the scientific method. If it passes all those examinations, it's not 100%. But
it's a nice hedge.
But like you're solidifying your position. You're hardening it with potential criticism. Like I told you, I looked on like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, like what was it, a year and a half ago or something like that. My buddy John Ward, shout out, he gave me some good advice and on that and help settle me down, whatever. I didn't know what I didn't know. And what a learning experience. Holy cow. I'm so thankful to God, Jesus. Like I prayed and he gave me peace and everything else. And it worked out. I mean, I lost some money, I'm not gonna lie, but I learned a lot. I really did.
That's the one thing that I hold very dear is like, I was searching in North Carolina for like a year and I was like, the one thing that was missing was like, I don't fucking know anyone here that I trust to like, at least just show me what they've done. They don't even have to tell me anything, no advice, just show me what you've done. And that just wasn't there. And that's why I'm like, oh, okay, let me look in Dallas where I have people who are active and who can just show me some shit.
Yo, there's so much value to like, we're learning that, like, to just, all you need, it's funny, you don't even need, it doesn't even matter where they're like us. All you need is one like stud in a remote market.
Is that why you guys invited me here?
Bro, there it is. But all you need is one stud broker to do all the innovations. I'm joking. Just planting little seeds. But no, all you need is one stud. It's crazy. Like kind of to your point. Like we found randomly in PA.
Yeah.
We were and I just found that, but in bigger pockets. I just threw my name. I was like, let's see who calls me. One guy calls me and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I knew nothing. The way he was talking, I was like, this guy's the fucking man. He's hiding it, but I know. I looked him up, and he's the #1 agent in all of Monroe County in PA. I'm like, I fucking knew it. And this guy heard me talk, and he was like, this is the fucking guy that I got to work with. Changed everything. That's all I need. And now you guys remember Phil? He used to come to the meetup.
So
Phil Costa?
I feel like if I saw his face, I would.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, but I found like through here relationships, like he's managing all the Airbnbs, doing a fucking great job in PA.
That's awesome.
Awesome. But what I'm saying is to that, like we barely go to PA now because we have these fucking people that we know are killers. So the more of those you get in a remote market, the more comfortable now you're like, you know, like I'm good.
And the thing that I had to, maybe this was my humbling moment for the past quarter, was remember, like,
you only have one.
No, I have way more than one.
Me too.
But it was networking.
Yeah.
I wasn't networking at all. And I'm just like,
But it also
wait,
helps.
I have to meet the right person. It's the person that's going to make this better for me. The who, not the how, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people are the ones, again, it's kind of become a theme tonight, but like the more people you know, the more likely you're going to discover what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Because unfortunately, Google doesn't just show you ideas. You know what I'm saying? You have to type in a question. Same with even AIs. You have to type in questions.
Yeah. It's all about the prompts.
People could just be seeing you and knowing what's going on. Like, oh, dude, you're about to walk into some fucked up water, buddy. Can I help you real quick? Like, you're like, yes, please, for the love of God, help me. Yeah, no, people can point at your blind spots. They don't always see. A lot of times especially when we're excited, man. Like that's one thing. I don't know. That's one thing I know. I think that changed about me. I think I've become way exceptionally more knowledgeable than I was, say. I mean, I feel like every month I'm growing in that regard. I'm constantly trying to, but my excitement levels are way more regular. They're not, I wouldn't say they're all not despondent. I'm not way up here. They're just, what's the word? I don't want to say impartial. They're not impartial. They're just I think they're just well regulated because there's been enough times where the excitement either got me into trouble or the excitement just never came to fruition, or inversely, where I was, frustrated or stressed out or worried, then I'm like, it's not useful for me. Everybody's different, and sometimes it is useful, and let it be the wind in your sails when you want to. But for me, it's probably like an adaptability thing. I've just become much more regular.
Yeah. That's so funny. I make that joke with Ryan all the time.
What's that?
Nonstop. That I'm like, yo, I'm becoming you motherfucker. And I get what it is. He's like, yeah, bro, like everything to him is very like that. And he's like, yeah, I didn't. He's like, this shit makes you into this. Like not too high, not too low, never. Like not because I'm like he's not consciously trying to stay like regulated.
Right.
It's just
the effect.
Yeah, it's just
the result.
Effect, the constant. You can't live in constant pressure and then go the other route, which is constant fucking ignorant like bliss. Yeah. So you kind of just regulate yourself, like, hey, not too high, not too low, buddy. Like,
but do you feel like that happens for both of you? Do you feel like that happens across your life or with these real estate specific things?
Yeah, and that's where it gets weird.
Yeah. Can I give you an example? Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
Give me an example. Do you guys remember when we were teenagers and malls were still really cool? And you get picked up by your friend who's driving this time. Like you don't quite have your license, but your one friend has his license and you're in the car. And it's just exciting being in the car with just your friends, no adults around. And then you go to the mall. It's exciting. If I came to pick you up to go to the mall to buy a shirt, Prince, like how excited
I don't go to malls unless
I'm just saying for the sake of the analogy.
But that's my point is like, I don't even want to go.
Yes.
I don't want to go.
Yes, exactly. My point is like, the novelty effect wears off.
Yeah.
It's like, novelty up, novelty low. Eventually you're like, I'm going to stick with this. I love doing it. I like learning. It's not that it's not positive emotion. It's just regulated differently.
How hard is that to communicate that to your significant others? Because she's like, I don't like, do you like this? And I'm like, I do.
Oh yeah. My wife is
and she's like, but you don't like, and I'm like, yeah.
My wife's seen me so stressed out over certain things, especially on the principal side of like transactions or whatever. She's seen me so stressed out and like, especially when I partner, whatever. Like, she's like, why do you? And I'm like, I love it. Like, I love. And if, by the way, here's the proof. I'm married. Like, you don't think I had highs and lows with my wife?
Yeah.
I'm married. You can love something that you have emotional responses to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to, it doesn't have to always be good. That's crazy. If everything was just like all the time. That'd be
when
crazy.
You say principal side, what do you mean by that?
Like I was the principal buyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you meant
seller.
like principals.
That's what I thought too.
Like
this guy's a fucking asshole, not keeping his word, and I'm like struggling with like this snake.
Right,
That's what I thought you were talking about.
I was about to say, let's get into that.
You were dealing with like you're a principal person, and this guy's like a snake. I thought that's what you were referring to.
No. I meant like when I'm the purchaser or seller. There's because it's more consequential. Like, don't get me wrong, it's frustrating when you've been working on a listing or something or helping a buyer and you found everything you wanted multiple times and worked with them for a long time and spent countless time with them and they lock it up or whatever else. I've had multiple and it falls through for one reason or another. Or that can be very stressful, especially if it's, something under their control or whatever else. That can be very frustrating, very stressful. But it's not as much as when it's my money, my livelihood, because I don't have big enough properties to get it. I have to personally guarantee my loans. I don't have like, I'm not buying $40 million buildings where they can guarantee it off the debt service coverage ratios or whatever else. Or the equity in there, whatever. I have to guarantee it. So it's like, oh no. And early on, you guys probably know, I took some big swings, like relative to like how much money I had.
Oh yeah.
I took big swings.
You were doing way wilder shit when I remember like what we were doing and then hearing your stories. I'm like, this guy's fucking crazy.
It also tempered me. But like, no, like, and there, with big swings, you can have big successes. You also have big misses.
Yep.
And I just think all around I've matured as an investor.
You sound like it.
Oh, thanks, man.
I was gonna say, are we like juniors or sophomores or which stage are we?
Me, I'm not in high school yet.
It's funny that you say that. Like, it's also, I don't know. Do you also feel challenged sometimes on if you're just like kind of like, I don't know, for lack of a better expression, like kind of pussing out, like.
I don't think I think it's because I overanalyze the shit out of so much and I come at it from so many different ways. I don't think I'm pussing out. I think I'm figuring out what I want and like. I'm narrowing in on my target. The resolution of my goals is becoming more clear.
Yes.
The resolution of the path is becoming more clear.
That's always
so awesome.
And that's always the answer, by the way. Always.
The answer to what?
To anything. Most of the time, it's because you're too, like, if you can't figure it out, it's because your fucking vision is way too wide.
Yeah.
And that's why there's no guidance. Like, you don't know what the next step is because, motherfucker, it's too much. Like, right? Like, the menu should have, just give me fucking 3 options.
Right.
Give me 50, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, that's why it's like annoying going to diners sometimes.
They have
16 pages.
I don't look at it. I'd be like, give me a burger.
Yeah. And I don't know why, because I order like the same 3 things anyway. I don't know why. I'm like, what are their specials tonight? Oh, Mediterranean meatloaf.
Don't get the lobster.
Yeah, I can't.
No, but like, I was questioning that because I'm kind of, sometimes I do feel like that. Like I'm just like
projecting.
Just quite, it's always nice to talk to other people to see where they're at, to have like some relativity going on, because, like, what doing the flips that I did, some like only one made me any money. It was not even like $10,000. And the things that I realized, the things that I took from that and the losses that I had, I lost $100K. Like the experience of all of that made me realize like, I just don't like flip. I don't have the risk appetite for flipping houses. That's what it is. It's not even necessarily the risk appetite. I will not prioritize flipping houses over my W-2 or my family. That's the problem.
There it is.
That's the problem. Well, not problem. That's the choice.
That's a value hierarchy.
The reason, I think there are reasons for that, right? And the reason why is because it takes, for me at least in my processes, flipping took too big of a chunk of time. So doing long term, it's usually a sprint to get the property. Once I get the property, then I can like start to back off.
But it sounds like
potentially,
and I'm not saying, I don't want to speak for you, but it sounds like it's potentially the case that you tried something, you experienced it a few times, you learned more about it, and relative to everything else in your life, it's like, oh, that's not something I want to do.
Right. Sure.
But that doesn't mean you're pussying out. I mean,
the reason why
begrudgingly do something that's like,
no, because like people still flip houses. People still make a ton of money. I'm fucking looking at my town. Fucking Cape Cods are selling for $700 that they're just going to tear down and build a fucking giant house and make a shit ton of money. And I'm like, am I missing out on this? And I'm always just like, no, I don't want to do it.
But that's literally everything. I mean, people can go to my fridge and a chef can go in there and make it nice. That's what they do. Like that's their expertise.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying.
Hopefully it's what they love. Hopefully.
I hope. And you don't know their origin story, what got them into there, the advantages, disadvantages they overcame or didn't have to overcome, whatever else. It's not, comparisons can be useful, but oftentimes, I mean, I think we analyze ourselves relative to other people are doing around us. And I don't always it's not always applicable. So like, yeah, there could be a lot of other, look, I can go to culinary school and everybody else is just cooking well. And I'm just getting burned with the oil, this and that. And it's like, by the way, are you giving up even though you want to do it, you love doing it, you want to get great at this? Or did you just realize like, oh, this isn't for me? Like if you put your kid in sports, maybe this is better. You put your kids in soccer, basketball, football, baseball, and they don't stick with all the sports. Does that mean they give up on some of them? Or maybe they just found the one that they like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
And that's kind of what I was talking about. Well, sort of relative to what I was talking about with like commercial real estate and like testing and figuring your way out, figuring out your path, because the numbers, everything is so much bigger. It's like, that's what I meant by like, you have to have money or you have to have some kind of cushion in order to fail enough times so that you are around long enough to win.
Yeah, you need a runway.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, runways are usful. I got sugar mom. No, I'm just kidding.
Me too.
Yeah, I saved a lot. I was pretty fortunate with the flips I did. I mean, I think every flip I did was profitable. I was very lucky. And I'm not saying I have to be humble. I was lucky.
I wish I would have took your course on that before I did mine.
I invited you to do a flip with me, if you recall.
No.
Yeah, remember in New Jersey?
No, but you did it with your what's his face?
Yeah, the only reason
because he was going to cover the work.
It was better terms. Yeah,
of course.
That was only it. It was better terms.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer.
That wasn't even the big part. The big part, if you recall, was I think you wanted to rent it out afterwards, and I was like, I'm very open to that, but I want the autonomy to sell it if I think it's a good choice to sell at the time. And then you were like, "Fuck you, Paul, you're short." Sorry. You did say that though.
No, hearing you, I think it sounds more like you said that you now that, like, I guess now that the agent said what she said to you, right? Like, I guess more, I would judge myself more now. Because you said that the agent told you, like, you know the numbers, Prince. So now that you know that, now you know what you got to do. So then the challenge is going to be like, okay, these are the numbers. It doesn't work. What am I going to do next?
Right.
And that's where I think that, like, are you being pussy comes in, because now you know.
And what would be the puss move in that
knowing
scenario?
What you have to do and not doing it.
Oh.
Now you're being a bitch.
What I have to do is fucking either find some fucking unicorn in Essex County or take my ass somewhere else. And that's what I'm doing. Well, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just real quick. So I had a point to bring up the flips. I wasn't just trying to one up like, well, I did well. No, I had a point to that. I only did like 3. So it wasn't like anything crazy. One of them was a live-in flip. So it was really easy. My point of bringing that up is when I left my job, I thought that I was going to be a flipper. Like I thought that was what I was going to do. And maybe with a combination of wholesales when the margin wasn't, or if it wasn't a project I wanted or something. I really did. I mean, I got prop stream. If you remember, you showed me, I got prop stream. You're the one who told me about that. I had a calendar for different projects I was working on. I thought it was going to be a combination of like flipper, value add investor, maybe some refis. It just depends. I kind of underwrote it. So like, okay, I want a full burr. But this way, if I don't have a full burr, I can sell it for this much or refinance this much out. And I'll just take it as it comes. But I typically wanted to underwrite it where I was at least going to get the majority of my money that I underwrote put back in, which means maybe I'd get back some of it because in my experience, it was almost always more expensive than I thought it was going to be. Sure. It took longer.
For sure.
Anyway, so I started that way and it was very disorienting because I wasn't 100% sure, but it was my starting point. And to me, the analogy that comes to mind, because I'm in a completely different thing now. I'm completely exclusively commercial, exclusively just on the agent side of things. And not doing that at all. I haven't done that in a while. And I love it. I think it's cool. If something fell in my lap, I'd take it and I'd invite you on because but my point is, I think a lot of times figuring this stuff out is a lot like a corn maze. You have to go in a direction, decide it's not the direction. Okay, that's not the right direction. You kind of find out, okay, that's not it. It's by process of elimination. A lot of times you try this, it doesn't work. Try that, it doesn't work. You try, oh, you know what, I kind of like this. And then that might have a couple of forks that you have to try.
Right.
But eventually you're kind of narrowing into what you like and what you're comfortable and passionate about. And over time, that also might change. It's your life's not it's dynamic. So it might change. But to me, I had all these things. It took me to really discover what I wanted to do. I mean, after quitting, after already being in real estate for years, like 18 months, like a year and a half of like, just, dude, what the fuck do I do? Dude, I'm not making any money. Like, I don't know. So I don't know if that's useful to you at all, but I think process of elimination, I think we all want to pick it right the first time. And I think we should give ourselves the grace and permission that it's okay to try things. And if it's not something I like, to try something else.
Yeah, for sure. I live that life. I think part of the challenges are the runway is not always just cash. It's also time,
Bandwidth.
and it's right. It's
Emotional energy sometimes.
it's like, yeah, it's a lot of things. It's prioritization.
Yeah, the
right?
rubber
It's
band,
like-
right? Like if you put too much into this, what are you taking away from? Right. So you're
It's
for
all
sure.
sacrifice. It's all sacrifice.
that's the game.
Can't get one
So-
thing. It's life's a seesaw, man. Everything's a seesaw. You can't have this, more of this without less of that. Oftentimes, I mean,
Yeah. And what I know about myself is like, I don't mind short-term sacrifice to high priority things, but if it's long-term, I don't know if I'll ever really do that.
yeah, unless you like the sacrifice.
I don't think I'm ever going to like sacrificing time with my wife and kids. So
Okay, but that's not what I meant. I didn't mean like sacrificing it with them. I'm saying with them, you like the sacrifice of maybe occupational things or investment opportunities. I shouldn't say you like that. Let me give a better example. You don't mind sacrificing time to be with your wife and kid.
Say that again.
be more, yeah.
So every time you're with your wife and kids, you're sacrificing time you could be doing something else.
Yes.
But it's well worth it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm just Bobo in the head.
No, that makes sense now. Yeah, I think that's important too. Like being like, now that you know that about yourself, now you can kind of start reverse engineering for
Exactly. It tells me certain things I can't, well, not can't, I'll choose not to do.
Yeah.
Yes, I won't do them.
That's great.
It
It
is.
kind of helps when you enter a fork or like, I'm not doing that one. That takes too
Dude.
much time. So it kind of limits your options in a good way.
My realtor still sends me, she sends me flip opportunities still. And I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Where are your multifamilies?
Essex,
Where specifically?
Orange, East Orange, and Bloomfield.
Orange.
Yeah. ¿Por qué?
No, the 3-family. I think they're asking. They got an appraisal for $650, but we shut that down immediately because I was like, you don't even have a comp in the appraisal for $650. The highest one you got is $580, and that was 2024 of June. So I was like, do you understand where I'm coming from? They were like, yeah, like Jagger explained this. So we've gotten down to like the mid 500s.
Could work with that depending on the you know,
Everything
how much
else.
work it needs.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Also, am I inheriting dog shit tenants?
No, for sure, all of that. That's
Yeah,
why I was
so-
like, let me,
That all has a cost. That
no, for sure. I was just curious. Now that you mentioned that, I was like, let me see.
Another paradox that people always
underwriting is fun when it has that little attorney slot that I never used to put money into.
Yeah.
Change that one up.
It's experience, man. Yeah, it's often a paradox. People want these large games without like having a larger amount of work or a larger amount of risk. I can't tell you how often I see that where it's like, well, I want to make this margin of return, but I want it to be like stabilized and hands off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh
yeah, it must be nice, bitch.
I kind of want
outta
I just
here.
kind of want to fuck with them and be like, oh man.
That's how you realize you've been getting robbed for the last 10 years.
Dude, it's like you realize it's like the equivalent of me saying like I want to eat whatever the fuck I want, mostly fast food. I don't want to have to go to the gym. I do want an 8-pack.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think I reached out to you guys. Happy Father's Day.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna tell you a funny. You're fuck out of here. It just reminded me of something.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. You can start it. I can probably hear you. The wall's pretty thin, but 1 sec.
Oh no, we stopped talking about it. We were just.
Oh. I want to question because it really struck my interest when you said, okay, but I want to spend time with my family. Like I realized the importance of that or whatever else, or maybe you didn't realize it. Maybe it just set in more. I don't know. I think.
Wait. Sorry, Paul. After Paul, you had a story. Get the fuck out of here. Just keep that in mind. Just
I won't
put a
forget.
thumbnail on it. Go ahead, Paul.
Just so we remember, I'm gonna put. Now we remember to move back. That symbolizes the get the fuck out of here story.
Fuck, because you said that, now it really is gonna signal that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Forever.
Is that what you tried to do? Right? Is that why you did it?
Yes.
Because this was gonna provoke this conversation, which then really.
Dude,
It's
I
an
used
inception.
to have the weirdest studying.
No, tell me the truth. Is that why you did that?
Yes.
Don't lie.
I'm fucking serious.
That's good.
But, all right. So, I almost made me forget what I'm going to say. Okay. I think, unfortunately, a lot of us come from like these preconceived notions when it comes to, I think when it comes to just manhood in a way, where it's like, there's all these competing interests and there's all these different like categories and domains of like manhood, and you can self-define it however you want. I'm not trying to get political or anything like that, or even overly philosophical. But I think a lot of people as men like almost operate on like our value is based on like our competency. Our competency is kind of relative to our income or what we can provide and what we can do. Now, granted, I think there's truth to that. I'm not saying, but I don't think it's the whole truth. Because you're providing time, energy with your family and everything else. And that cannot be outsourced. A lot of things cannot be outsourced, right? Income things you can get to a point of outsourcing, real estate, different things. You can work your way up to outsourcing. You can't outsource time with your kids. You can't outsource time with God. You know, you can't outsource your health. You can't say somebody else will be good for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's things you can outsource, and the things you can are typically the most valuable: health, God, family, you know, maybe relationships. And I just, when you, it just really, it just struck that because I think that's a battle that I've been coming across. So like, well, I feel like I have to be able to do this and I have to be able to do that. And I was coming from the wrong framework. I was framing things basically by what I was taught, like growing up or what I witnessed growing up and everything else, and what is like perceived to be valuable, as opposed to like coming from like a first principles perspective, like, wait, what's valuable to me? And like you said, and working my way back to that, how can I support what's valuable to me? And you have all these competing interests, and it's difficult to prioritize. It's difficult to keep organized or compartmentalized. But I wonder if that at all would happen to you, because that definitely happened to me to some degree, where like I used to want to be like, man, I have to be worth. I mean, at one point in my life, I'm ashamed to say this, but I'll say it. I was like, I don't think I'll be happy until I have like a net worth of like 300 million. I don't think I'll be happy until, and it's not that I didn't think I'd be happy. I didn't find my happiness in that. I shouldn't say happy, content like that. Like I felt like that was my thing. And then I just kind of worked more from first order principle. What do I want out of life? What is my actual aim? And what does it take to get there? Don't get me wrong. Like I want to be successful in what I do, but I don't need, and I want to be able to provide a very comfortable life and a secure life for my family. I also want them to have adversity and everything else, which I hope to have the problem where I have to outsource the adversity. Like I have to give them basically like fake resistance. They don't have to have, but I want them to have it so they get stronger. And I'm like, wow, I don't need that. I mean, hell, you could be a teacher and married to a nurse or whatever. And, you know, if you're putting away X% of your thing into a 401k, you're paying your house down, everything else, you have a very comfortable life, especially if you're limiting your expectations. And what I mean by that is like I don't want to call it quality of life, but like your
not even quality of life. It's just not keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need newer this. You don't need newer that. You don't need a bigger house. Immigrants used to move in here like the Italians, and they would come and live and share one bedroom all the time. It's like a standard of living. So you can do that and you can retire very comfortably. You can go on some vacations and everything else and have real quality time that you would otherwise maybe attempt to outsource by sending them to camp instead of spending time on the boat. I think camp's awesome. I'm not talking shit about camp. I'm just saying like, yeah, that's what I did. I kind of like, I almost like imported other people's values or values that I saw, try to live off of that, realized like, wait a minute, what am I doing this for? I'm sacrificing this, the happiness of my wife because I was working all the time and stressing all the time. I'm taking these risks that the risk was not worth the reward, because if I'm compromising like, you know, my family's house and money for food or whatever else, to me, to somebody else that might be worth it, it's fine. To me, it's not worth giving up the most important thing. I want to keep my base strong.
Yeah.
And if that means having a smaller net worth, who the fuck cares? Like nobody fucking cares. I was also a lot younger when I, you know.
No, for sure.
But yeah. And then as I got older, I'm like, what am I doing? Like I want a comfortable life. I want to be good at what I do. And I think money will likely be a byproduct if I get good at what I do consistently.
Yeah.
But what am I doing? I was putting the wagon first, and that wagon wasn't even a wagon I wanted. Like if somebody gave me that wagon, I'd be like, oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah. But like,
that's our kids. Fuck these kids.
Yeah. But like, do you get what I'm saying to a degree?
I 100% get what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, I think people like, that's what you see on YouTube and that's what you see on Netflix and that's what you see with everything else. And you're like, that's what I want. That's the glory and everything else. And I'm like, wait, what am I doing? First off, glory is not for me. And I'm not trying to make this a religious podcast, but like, I do believe, you know, all honor and glory is God's. Like I didn't do anything to earn my fingers. I didn't do it. IQ is a freaking random pool shot to get born in America or born in New Jersey, to have my health. All that's not given to me.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, even things that are more abstract that, you know, were just fortunate ideas. Where the hell did these ideas come from that helped me? Or this will that I found all of a sudden, where did that come from? I can't take responsibility for, I mean, I can take responsibility for my actions, but like, I can't take all the credit at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just was wondering if that was anything, if any of that was relatable and what you were kind of coming from.
Definitely relatable. But I think my whole life has been family first.
That's a great play. Well, that's my value. I think it's a good
I
value.
said that's fucked.
That's fucked. That's fucked. What about that? What about that paper though? What about that cake? You don't like frosting?
I mean, I unfortunately love frosting. But that, I mean, that came with, you know, that came with a cost also, you know, like I think we talked about this last time, whatever, but like, you know, my dad wasn't around, like he was there for like the first 5 years or something like that. And I ended up in foster care and all my siblings and all this shit. So that there was a cost to that. So I never, like, you know, to me, family is always going to be first.
I think, and I believe you. And I think what I was doing is I was saying it. I was also feeling it. I really felt it, but I wasn't.
What do you mean feeling?
So I was saying families first. And in my heart, like I cared about my family more than I cared about, like if somebody put, you know, if I had a binary decision, you can have money or you can have your family, but I pick money every time. But then in my little actions throughout the day, throughout the week.
You pick family every time.
Yeah. But in my little actions throughout the day.
You said money.
Freudian slip.
Whoops. Excuse me.
That's what I was like.
I was like, wait,
I'm about to buy it. No. Yeah, I'm gonna buy an orphanage. They all be my kids. Get Game Boys for you. No, but my point is like, no, I knew in my heart, like I cared about my family more. And I think a lot of times we can be the biggest liar to ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think like a lot of times I was like, okay, but this is for them. This is for them. This is for them. But when I realized like consequentially, it wasn't going to affect their life. The net benefit was not there. It was a net loss by outsourcing me to make more resources for them or to get better at things for them. And then not to mention it, that might not even happen because there's a risk element to it. I was saying it, I was feeling it but I was tricking myself into like, this is for them. This is for them. This is for them. When in reality, it was to fulfill kind of like an ego thing. It was to fill like an insecurity or an ego. And, so I wasn't acting on it. You know, I feel like my words were there for sure. I think my heart was there, but my actions didn't back it up.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can really tell a lot of times somebody's priority by their actions. Now I was
always,
but here's the thing. I was kind of misleading myself. Like I felt like it was there at the time, but you know, we are experts at tricking ourselves when it's in the direction of something we want.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now do you want to put this back so you can tell you the fuck you story?
No, it was just funny. Like what you just said, like this is what you were doing to yourself, right? Like just fucking with yourself, planting seeds that you probably didn't even know were being planted and shit like that. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very difficult thing to be, there's levels of self-awareness.
Yeah, man.
Right. And, I mean, you have these, all these types of biases we're not consciously aware of all the time of like, you know, we have a tendency to cherry pick. We have a tendency to have confirmation bias. So, even like, I guess I can call that like a goal bias, like whatever gets me to that goal. But if my goal was to have a healthy, happy, family and, provided for, like I can do that without sacrificing that much.
Correct.
Now, and within the parameters I allot towards it, like say it's 8 hours for some people or 10 hours a day or whatever it is. I'm willing to have those parameters because you have to give up some of that. You can't just most people can't just not work and do nothing and spend all the time with their kids.
Yeah.
Even if you could, a lot of times you'll lack fulfillment. You won't be as good of a person for them.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you're not going to be the best role model for them.
Yeah. Role model, or you won't be fulfilled, whatever else it is. And yeah, so I do think there's a balance, and I was very unbalanced. I mean, sometimes like Prince is pointing out, short term, being unbalanced for short term, for something might have its positive benefits, but I think you just gotta be careful with that.
Yeah.
You just gotta be careful because you can suck yourself into some stuff. I mean, anyway, story.
The interesting thing about all of that, though, I think that is important to keep perspective on too, is that all of that stuff is always fluctuating. And so
yeah, it's
even
not static.
No. And so because of that, I get checked just like anybody else, you know? And to your point, my actions, they are going to be the truth behind my intent.
I do
And so,
I do think intent matters. Like, I think when it comes to like actions in general, I have to give like three main parts. You have your intention, you have your action, and you have your consequence. You often cannot have complete control over the consequence.
right.
You might have complete control of your actions, and then you might have to search for your intent. But I think intent is very important. I mean, we know that. I mean, if you look at the legal system, there's a difference between manslaughter and murder because of the intent. Like, it's pretty well accepted. Like, oh, I didn't mean that. That was an accident. Like all these things, because we recognize, oh, intent matters. But I think you still need to learn from the consequences of it. Like, how is this actually, like, what is the feedback I'm getting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things that when you're describing that came up for me was maybe at the beginning of the quarter or around thereabouts, like Melissa and I were having this conversation and we were like stressed out. We were feeling like super cash poor. And I was just
Been
like,
there, done that. Like, it sucks.
I feel like it's my life. I feel like I'm always feel cash poor.
I feel cash poor now. Like,
Yeah, I always. But no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, people say that. I don't know. It's relative. It's relative.
Yeah, yeah.
For us at the time, and probably still today, it was like we have $60,000 cash available, like right now, if we needed to just go to the bank and get money. And I was like, fucking A, that's not a lot of money. And I also want to buy more properties. Anyways, then we came to this point where like, and I was just like, should we stop? Like, the kids, do they really need to take swimming lessons? Like, do they really need to go to jujitsu? You know, like, and in that moment, I was like, what the fuck am I thinking right now? This is stupid. And then I was like talking to Melissa and I was just like, I will sell everything that we own to like just go back to no stress, just living like happily versus just like, it's like this, it felt like this balance between ambition and happiness. And I'm like, there doesn't have to be that tension. And so it was just it was a healthy reminder to, I guess, to the point of like, what's the action that I'm going to take here to like, to show that my intent is like family first. And that was a real situation.
yeah, I mean, I've had similar burns. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but okay, so about 3 years ago, I was doing a house of live and flip, simultaneously doing a flip on a property, the one I talked to you about, but that was, getting a partner on. I wasn't doing that out of the generosity of my heart. I was doing that because I didn't have the money. And so I was doing that flip. I was flipping the house I was going to move into and where we live. I was also had the value add project in Rahway that I'm working on. All have mortgages. Obviously the one you're living in, you're not making money. The one you're moving into, you're not making money. And the one that you're currently flipping, you're not making money. I got down to, so 3 mortgages. I'm not going to count the commercial one because at least there was income coming in there, not like cash flow property, but like it was supporting itself. And I was under $1,000 in our checking account with 3 mortgages and everything else. And not like, oh shit, what do I do? I was supposed to get a refi coming in. The bank canceled it because of all the rates climbing up and everything else. And they gave me all the assurances for months. I mean, I was like, oh fuck, oh, this is okay. I could go bankrupt. Like, okay. That was really, really, and I remember just thinking like, what was I thinking? Like, you can't buy bread with equity. What was I thinking? Like, and this is not worth my wife's peace of mind. Like, I could deal with it, but it wasn't worth my wife's peace of mind. And my daughter was just born. And I was like, what was I thinking putting that much on the line? Now, granted, I really thought it was ignorance. I really thought I had like $150,000 refi coming in. I really thought like the bank assured me I was going to get it.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he assured me. And then I called like, if the rates requirements is going to affect it, no, otherwise you can go for a second or you can do this, you can do that. And then nothing. They're like, yeah, sorry, you can't have it. And I was like, I was spending money on those flips and the overhead and everything, relying on that. So that old adage of like, don't count your chickens before they hatch, that I played through my mind. I counted my chickens. That's what I did. I shouldn't have. Luckily, and again, we're talking about like why I can't take credit. I remember I was just sitting despondent, and it like in a serendipitous way, I had this overwhelming like thought and emotion of like, well, if this is going to happen, I'm going to go down swinging. Period. If this is going to happen, I'm going to go down fighting. So I called every bank. Can you take seconds? Can you do this? okay, will you take a second? Will you take a, nobody wanted to in this climate. Hell, my own bank wouldn't give me a loan. So the one guy was like, well, what you're telling me with your DSCRs and how much your debts are, I'm sorry, your DSCRs and what you're telling me about like your LTVs, it doesn't sound like it's adding up. And why don't you try calling this guy from that bank? And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I didn't know at the time because I was irate. Like, you know, you guys gave me no notice. You guys, blah, blah, blah. I was counting on that. I had all these other mortgages, and yada, yada, yada. I got to pay for. I have a kid. What do you, and you guys screwed me, blah, blah, blah. Turns out he was the owner of the bank. He was one of the owners. I didn't know that. But you know what? He was like, well, what? He was like, listen, what do you need? And I didn't know he was the owner. I was like, well, I want my 150 you guys said. And we underwrote for. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. It's time for you to do what you said you were going to do. Because I was very honest that I'm adding this value, that I'm refinancing, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what do you need? I was like, I need at least 50. I need 50,000 to get out of the hole. That wasn't so I have like, you know, money to like finish the flip, get that sold, get this one rented, move into this one just to get back to stasis. And he was like, all right, I got a call the next day from the guy. Cause I asked him, did you ask your boss's boss? He's like, I checked everybody. They said no. And he just called me. He was like, yeah, so you called the owner, but you're going to get the money. And I was like, great. I was like, whatever. So thank God. But again, I can't take credit for that because like, it's easy to be like, yeah, I didn't give up, blah, blah, blah. But like, I was despondent. Like I just was emotionless, like apathetic. Like, what am I going to do? And it just hit me like a wave. Like, you know what? Go down. And there was a will all of a sudden. I don't know where it came from, but I had the will all of a sudden and found a way. Like, thank God. Now do you want to tell the fuck you story?
I wonder where that comes from. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like what changed? Like what similar story. I'm sure that's what you're pointing at me, right? Because I'm like
why?
What happened? Like what was the turn? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's internal. I don't know if that's like a higher power giving you like a little. Who knows? But I'm so curious, like because it's literally the same shit. Like what kind of gave him that? He just needed a little bit. Yeah, like I just needed a little bit.
I was sitting on a curb in a parking lot. I remember like it was yesterday.
It's like, are you looking for it too? I think about that too. It was like, I looking for something.
I wasn't. I don't think I was looking for it. I was just sitting like despondent.
But just the thing is that can we manufacture it for ourselves? That's the question.
That's what I want to know.
Is that possible or like?
I think you can harness it, capture it, whatever. I don't know if you can manufacture it.
Can you put yourself in a situation or around the right people to where it is more likely to come up?
Yeah, because I think I think to some extent or another, it might be dormant in all of us. You know, that type of thing. And I think
like it almost feels biological, right? Like it almost feels like the lion's about to kill you and you just have a rock and you just go fucking apeshit and kill the lion because you're just
in this case, it was more like the lion's going to kill you. There's nothing you can do. It came out and I just sat there like, all right, it's going to kill me. The fuck, this sucks.
Yeah, but something switched.
Right.
Something like that.
But what is it? I
don't even care what it is. How do you get more of it?
Whatever.
How do you control it? How do you call it when you need it? That's the question.
Bias. I think prayer, personally, bias. Prayer. And I also think that like sometimes the answer to the prayer is not what we think. It's not like an epiphany moment. Like it might not be that you see a personified God.
Most of the time, it's
not. But people can be messengers. Books can be messengers.
That's true.
You can inspire me. You can teach me. You know, maybe if you have like mental illness, there might be medical professionals that can help you. Like,
but I feel like there are people who go the opposite. There are the people who give up. There are the people who are on the Titanic who are just like, fuck it. I'm out in the middle of the ocean. I'm gonna die. I'm just all right. Let me just let go.
Resiliency. Well.
You know what I mean? Like
Alex Hormozy talks about this thing.
What'd he say?
Like just in general.
I respect that guy a lot. What is he say?
I love that guy.
By the way, Alex, we'll go on your podcast anytime you want.
Fucking man.
Podcast.
He's the man.
Does he have any books?
He really, yeah.
Yes, he does. I have his.
I think he has two, right?
He has a sale. They're both like centered around sales though.
Okay. I love sales.
But he's really
the guy's
good.
A philosopher.
But basically, he has a bunch of shit that he talks about.
He's like an economic philosopher.
Yeah.
Like it's like merges the human condition with like drive and money.
But he talks about like that thing, like what it like he focuses on creating evidence, right? Like that's one of his big things, pillars. Like you don't need confidence, you just need evidence. which I think about that all the time. Like you just
Like
need
the
reps.
gaps in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
You
proof.
just need reps. You just need like just more proof, and then you'll be confident. You're, like the people that are confident, he uses the speech, right? He's like, I'm confident in my speech because they don't know that I fucking said this shit to Layla like 1,500 times before I got here. So no, I'm not gonna be nervous. This is the 1,600th time I say this, you know.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't want to do the work, including myself often, by the way.
Yeah. Everybody. It's but yeah, especially with things you take for granted. Like we were talking about family. Like it's so easy because you don't do it on purpose, but like because you know, like I really love, and I like to think that she feels the same way about me and Maris. I really love Maris. She really loves me. So it's easy to take advantage of that because you're like, it's gonna take a lot more than me ignoring you for a couple of weeks for you to leave me. I don't say that, but my actions are probably showing, right? Because like you'll take a bigger risk, like you know what, damn, I know I should buy her something, but she'll be fine. You're technically leveraging love, right? That's basically what you're doing.
I never looked at it that way.
But that is what you're doing.
Love or a sense of duty or whatever.
Whatever you want to call it, but like you're using the work you've put in, like you're taking from the savings account, right? Like I save so much money, like what I could take $10. Like it's
I think that's fine to do as long as it's like you said before, like transparent. You know, it's like I need to go away for 6 months and go do this shit, or I need to focus on myself, and like just sharing that.
That's easy to detect. The harder ones to detect is when you're taking $1 every day. And you're not adding any money into that is I think that's what I'm sure we call
that shit builds up, and then eventually you're like, oh shit. Like,
that's the one thing I try to Morgan, what's the guy from Psychology of Money? I really like that guy. You guys ever read that book?
I don't think so.
No?
I feel like I have it downloaded on Audible. I don't think
you guys should definitely listen to it. Oh, it's so good. So good. That changed a lot of like, well, you guys resonates with me because of that. He said it first to me, and he's like, it doesn't have to be complicated.
No, I couldn't agree
like
more.
anything or
and
just
like
money?
Well, he's a big money guy.
Yeah.
So like most of his theories are based around money, but he's like, it doesn't have to be that difficult. Like you don't have to make it hard.
In fact, the less difficult it is, it's probably the surer the path.
Yeah. So he's like, you can. So like the way I kind of see it now is I'm back to like, okay, what's the minimum amount of money I need to make to do everything I need to do with and also build wealth. And I just evaluate that number constantly, and I don't work an extra dollar more.
Yeah. I think there's couple things I just would add that one, I agree, doesn't have to be complicated. The more simple is probably a more sure way. It's probably slower, but more sure. I mean, the book Richest Man in Babylon talks a lot about that. I only went through that book like 2 months ago, and I was like, man, I loved it because everything you're saying, not everything, a lot of those things I had to learn the hard way, and it sucked. But I was like, yes, I wish I read it when I was younger. It's just broad principles. But I will say that just because it's simple doesn't make it easy. Because to be disciplined, to be consistent, like it doesn't make it easy. But it is simple. And then the other thing I wanted to add, because I forgot to say this when I was saying, like, you said, where's it coming from? God, like, I also think it's like a muscle to degree. I think it's in us or whatever. I think that also oftentimes God wants us to participate and like, do things ourselves, not just be like, all right, God, you step in now. It's like, he's like a good dad. He's like, dude, I need you to do a lot of this so you're learning, so you get stronger, so you can do this, so you can grow. So I don't mean like, I just wanted to clarify. I didn't mean like, yeah, just pray and it'll get done. And it's like,
you're not talking about the secret?
I think, a lot of times you have to be, I think just like a good dad would want their son, when he wants to accomplish something, he wants him to participate and learn. Not always. I can't speak for the guy. I'm just saying, like, I think oftentimes that's the case.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So we figured out the big questions in life, and you want to put this back and hear Prince's story?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
It was just the context is so far now, but I'll tell it anyway.
Oh.
So you just random. I forgot what we were talking about. You were just like,
get the fuck out of here. We were talking about.
I really pushed you away. I'm so sorry, dude. I mean that sincerely.
We were talking about people that.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Want good returns and no effort.
Oh, right.
And I was like, yeah.
Right.
10 years from now.
They want to eat back in McDonald's. Anyways, so for Father's Day, we ended up going to Applebee's. This is so stupid now. But anyways,
Good in the neighborhood.
Come on, sell it.
we were supposed to go to this other place. Anyways, yeah, like I don't know. Did you guys do anything special? Anyways, I didn't. Like every dad I talked to, I was like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" They're like, I'm not doing anything." And I'm like, "Me neither." So we go to Applebee's, whatever, had a decent meal, and the manager comes around, and she's all like, "Hey, thanks for coming. How was your meal? Everything?" I was like, "Oh, it's fine." And she's giving out these little cards that it's like so it says something like Happy Father's Day. Here's $10 off your next meal for $40. And I'm like, it's fucking Father's Day today. Can you give me $10 off my meal now? And so I pick up the card, I read it, and I under my breath, I was like, the fuck out of here. Your fucking fuck your $10.
How many people you're with?
And then my family.
Did you think about breaking up a meal and then paying for the rest of the meals like it was a second meal?
Oh my God.
That's funny.
And then everyone starts laughing and I'm like, what is so funny? And then Melissa's like, did you think you said that under your breath just now? I was like, oh God. My kids are just dying. I was like,
that's cute.
Because I was like, get the fuck out of here with you. I was like, fuck your $10. I was like, on the next time I come back, fuck. Yeah. Anyways. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. Get more foot traffic.
Yes. I have never come. I don't even go to Applebee's.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that? If they would have gave you $10 off to that day, you probably would have came back out of guilt.
Maybe.
At least more likely.
Reciprocity rule?
Yeah. More likely than now.
Oh,
You're
hell
like,
yeah.
Fuck you.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
Now I'm like, exactly. Now I'm like, fuck you for your next meal. Fuck you. I'm not coming. I don't even go. We went there because the ramen place next door had a 30-minute wait and I didn't feel like waiting. That's why we went there. And I'm like,
I think if she really wanted to play it right, she'd be like, but somebody else just paid. I can pretend I'll put the coupon code in anyway. And then that reciprocity.
That would have been, yeah, that would have exactly.
Missed opportunity.
Come back around, like, you know what?
I don't like being celebrated, man. I think I told you because I think you dropped off some clothes for us.
Oh, right, yeah.
Honestly, I'd be feeling guilty, like, because now like I said, all my days are. I'm fucking lucky. I don't even like saying it out loud. I get nervous because every day I get to do. Like every day is a fun day. Like somebody was like, "Oh, what if the last day? What would you do?" I was like, the exact same thing I would do. Because it's nothing more awesome than
you followed your passion.
Yeah, it's very like similar to what you said. All the things that I focus on are the things that I like to do, which consist of hanging out with friends, working on your body. The things that you can't outsource is what my days are based on, right? Like, so. Honestly, I'd be feeling guilty because I'm like, yeah, like I get to work with Amaris. I get to take both my kids to school. I get to pick them both up. Abby got into Pokemon, which is a fucking game changer for me. I love Pokemon.
The game?
The RPG game.
Oh, the RPG game.
Yeah. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So she like
Wait, is it the one where you have to walk around and
So I used to play the Game Boy version. Even like a couple years ago, like I'll replay it, the emulator.
Was it fighting or
no, RPG?
RPG.
Right. Yeah. I always play the RPG one. And then Abby started getting into it, so I got to play. I'm fucking putting in hours with Abby for Pokemon.
Yes.
But like,
also,
guess what I'm saying is like all I do is that. Like it's either working out with my friends, with Amaris, or with the kids.
I think one of the reasons it works so well too is like, I think a lot of times disappointment happens when expectation doesn't meet reality.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know what your expectations are, but it sounds like you're living either at or above them. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think you're doing it with something you love. So some people to do what they love. But if I love being a teacher, but I would only make $75,000 a year.
Yeah.
I understand that could be difficult, but again, if your expectations are like, well, I'm cool with having a roommate and I'm cool with whatever else, and I'm cool with not it's just, I think that expectations and maybe entitlement, I don't know if it's necessarily entitlement, but expectations for people and what they want out of life, probably because they're looking through the window of a screen instead of the window of their house.
Yep.
Window of your house, not much excitement going on. The window of the screen is fucking everything. So when you're cognizantly or not comparing it to that, it's like you expect more, you want more, or whatever else, and it's kind of thieving your happiness. or your contentness.
I agree. Like 1,000%. It does take a lot, but it's a constant reminder because I for sure make the least amount out of all my peers. So that's always around. Like out of the three of us, I know I make because I purposely make sure that I don't work that
only
much.
to quantify it in dollars. But
But I guess I'm trying to make it relatable to like anybody else who's like listening.
Yeah.
Like, so that there is I guess a discipline or some kind of muscle you do have to work.
You get more out of life than probably most of your peers.
Well, that's the thing that I know for a fact that I'm like, no one does.
People say that they just, I have fun every day. How many people?
Yeah, no, for sure,
You
for
do,
sure.
You know.
Yeah. So for me, it's like an easy trade. I'm like, yeah. And then something I have to speak to Amaris about too is like, if I ever get the itch to make money, I'm like, I think I'm good waiting until the kids get to like middle school. Like, because, you know, now they're actively going to try to avoid me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, I don't mind maybe working, but I'm like, right now where Abby is like, yo, can we play Pokemon? I'm like, I'm good.
Throw all
like,
that shit out the window. Like,
I've been,
turn the phone off.
Yeah,
like,
I've been blessed. Like, I know how to build wealth. So I'm like, and that's the other thing that helps me. That book, Psychology of Money. It's like, I'm like, Ronny, you forget, like, you know how to build wealth. It's not like it's just a slow game. So like, it's not as exciting, whatever. But I'm like, yeah, but you know how to build wealth. So like, you're gonna keep building wealth regardless of like how much income you make. So like,
what's the reward if you try to expedite and you have to sacrifice that? Is the reward worth the cost? A, B, you can build wealth later. You don't get you can't raise your 3-year-old again. You know what I'm saying? Like, that person gets older, you don't get that back, period. So it's like, becomes pretty obvious what's more valuable. It's more scarce. Time with your child is way more scarce. It's limited.
Yeah, and our bodies too. Like, I guess I'm into fitness like crazy, and I'm like, damn, I try to. You guys ever read like Die with Zero? That's another goodie. He's like this billionaire dude, but he looks at life super interesting. Basically, he wants to die with zero. So it's the whole idea is like, I'm not gonna wait till I die to give up all my money to my kids. I'm gonna give my kids money now and help them and guide them through having money. He's like,
I like that
right?
idea.
Yeah, like that's how I think I'm gonna do it too. And thinking about it now, I'm still trying to figure it out. But another thing is like experiences. He's like, I love trains, so that he apparently like loves trains. But he's like, I also love skiing. So I'm going to ski until I know my body can't ski anymore. And then I'll jump back into trains because I can do trains.
Some things have a time slot.
Yeah. So I was like, oh shit. So I guess that book helped me realize that too. Like, yo, I'm going to fucking milk my kids wanting to chill with me for as long as possible. Because they're not going to like me at one
short
point.
window.
Yeah, I know for sure. And and I know myself. I know I'm a lot. So I'm like, I know they're not going to like me at one point. And they don't know. They think I'm cool right now. I'm going to ride this bitch out. So
I'm definitely a lot as well. So I get what you're saying. I'm working on it, but I can be rigid.
Yeah. I mean, anyone that's like, we have these traits that make us pretty good in business and certain things, right? That for sure. But those things do translate, and they don't translate as well in like personal relationships.
No, not always.
You know,
I mean, again, sometimes I get too assertive with my wife.
Yeah.
Like, that's not always a great thing.
But expected, right?
Or sometimes I'm too like now I'm talking about principles.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm not as flexible. I don't know, flexible, but like,
you put a lot of thought into something, so you don't want to hear like.
Well, it's also like I'm so logically based that I sometimes forget to handle emotions.
Yeah.
So like, if it doesn't make sense to me logically, I think kind of like in business, I can point to you can point to either tangible evidence or something that's quantifiable, or I can go back and do certain things. And a lot of times when somebody's feeling an emotional way, it feels like you're undermining their emotions.
Yeah.
And like, part of me wants to be like, well, I am, because like whatever.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but like, but at the end of the day, to a degree, their emotions come from somewhere. So there's something I'm probably missing if I'm not understanding. It might not be logically based, but it's coming from somewhere. And I guess if you back set that large enough, then it will make logical sense. If you trace it back far enough, it'll make logical sense somewhere along the line. So I can't claim she's not logical. My wife's very smart. But yeah, I think that's one of the things where I'm almost like, sometimes I can be almost like salesy. Like if I see these like memes on, or not, these little short videos on like Instagram, where it's like, I don't want to go to the mall today. Or I'm sorry, honey, let's go to the mall and look around. Oh, I see. Okay, so you want to look around the mall. Now, have you thought about, or you would say that you want to look at, because you want to browse, right? You just want to look at things. Right. And do you get the same excitement? Like you're just kind of leading them
Yeah.
in a sales way or being overly logical in a business sense. Like I'm getting better at that, a lot better at that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
recognizing the emotion. But usually I try to treat it like logic, like it's a tonic to emotion, and that's not good either. I don't think to an extent it can be, but
And you're never gonna be great.
no, I'll be great.
Yeah. But at least like you're aware. I think the important thing is that you're aware that you're gonna struggle with that. To put
And
more
I'm
emphasis.
actively growing. I'm
Yeah,
getting way better because I care.
But do you talk about it though?
Yeah, we talk about what element of it specifically.
The whole thing.
Like with my wife and everything else. Oh yeah. And
So
my wife has taught me a lot. Like she's taught me a lot. I also see a therapist, man, like who I can go over things with, and I learn a lot from that.
Nice.
So yeah, man, like yeah, I mean, I feel like one thing I'm pretty good at is, and again, I'm not always good at this, but consistently I'm put myself very often. I try to be all the time in the position of a student. Constantly trying to learn, Like can't control the outside, but I can control my reaction and control what I do and everything else. And I mean, that's a lot. So I try to apply that and become a much better. I could absolutely say I'm a better husband now than I was 6 months ago. And then 6 months before that, and 6 months before that. She'll tell you, I am not a perfect husband. Not even close.
Yeah. Well, if she did say that, then I'm like, you guys are about to break up.
She said you're not a perfect husband.
Yeah, if she said you were, I'm like,
or no, she'll tell you he's like, is Paul a perfect husband? She's like, no. She'll be like, do you love him? Like, yeah. Well, like, is he perfect? No, it fucking annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say this.
But even a perfect husband or a horrible husband is still a snapshot. It doesn't like.
Yeah,
it doesn't essentially, if you add enough time, it doesn't matter, right? Because what matters is like your average, not like your highs and lows.
Think about that.
Because at any given time, right? Like I can come home with a bunch of flowers.
I think yes, but I think there's exceptions, right?
If
on average I'm faithful.
That's a good point.
I think that counts too.
Yeah.
I think that counts too. It depends.
Think somebody's not. By the way, I don't think that has to be a divorce automatically. I think everyone. Yes, but
my point is like there are marriages where people have been unfaithful and then they've figured it out and they've made them into stronger marriages.
Yeah, but like if on average I don't hit my wife.
I mean,
unfortunately it's a reality for a lot of people.
For everything, there's going to be a line, right? Like you can. If on average I only cut off one finger,
your point of
there's going to be a line. But
to your point, actually, I would say like no, because certain things are more impactful, right? So it would decrease the average dramatically. For example, if you've always been a perfect, amazing husband,
exactly,
and you had one slip up, it's a big slip up,
right?
But it weighs differently. Certain things are more weighted.
Oh, for
Nevertheless, you're right. It probably still falls into an average somewhere.
Yes.
So like, I mean, I've been good for like 6 years. I think I could. A little backhand? No, I'm just.
You've earned it.
Yeah, I've earned it.
How big is the ring?
Her brother's gonna come over to kick my ass. I'm like, guys, on average, I don't know.
I'm just producing.
No, but I actually think that makes. But so please go on about that.
No, but that's where I think that some people get it wrong is because I don't think get it wrong might not be the best phrase, but I think it goes back to what you were saying before is that when you set high, depending on how you want to see it, maybe unrealistic expectations, then it's just going to lead you to disappointment. And here's a tangible example that will work. Like one of my problems with religion, with church, with any religion that has like a leader is most often religions are like, okay, we believe in forgiveness, right? That's a fairly basic tenet for a lot of religions. Well, specifically, I'll speak to mine, Christianity, right? Every pastor that I've ever known who's committed a sin, who has been blown up about it, is like, use the pun, crucified. It's just like, oh, this person sucks. You can't run a church anymore. Get the fuck out of here. You're a loser, whatever. And yes, there are, like anything else, there are lines for me and for other people. And it's like
disproportionate response.
It doesn't even matter if it's proportionate or not. My point is like if you're preaching forgiveness and someone makes a mistake and your immediate response is to not forgive them, it's just kind of like, well, what the fuck are we doing?
What are we
here?
doing?
Like, what are we doing here?
You're a hypocrite.
So,
but I will say that's hypocrisy, but I will say that the message isn't validated by the messenger. Or undermined by that.
Not at all.
So for you, it's a good message.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, there's so much more to unpack with that, but yeah, not at all.
No,
not at all.
We figured it out.
But my point though is like in marriage, it's like if you set this expectation, like my husband or my wife is never going to be attracted to anyone, just me for the rest of their lives. What the fuck are we living in the real world right now? Like seriously?
I agree.
Like, yeah, like it. So it depends on the expectations that you set also, but I think.
Yeah, if the standard's perfection, then you're gonna have a bad husband every time.
Right, that's what I mean. Right, exactly.
I can only speak anecdotally because I'm not familiar with any review studies. About to get a little sexist here. I'm just do you think? And I'm asking a question. Do you think there's gonna be like somebody's like, you implied it? Do you think that women have higher standards on men than men do on women, or vice versa? Do you think that men have higher standards on women than in a marriage? In context of a marriage?
No, I think it's the same. I think it's just different. Generally.
Oh, me too.
Generally. I just think it's different. Me too.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Exactly.
No, because I think,
you guys felt that way.
One of the major, I think, unrealistic expectations from a man is like men don't age the same way that women do. Right. And so like an unrealistic expectation from a man is like, I'm going to be attracted to my wife in the same way that I was when I first met her when we were like 18, then after she has like 2 or 3 kids and now she's like 60. It's going to be different. You know, it's like,
interesting. Yeah. Because I'm not in this situation and my wife's
30.
No, I know. But I'm saying like my wife's 32. Like it's interesting you bring that up because I guess ideally and ideologically, like an idea I'm having doesn't mean it's reality, is that I'm thinking like, okay, well, I'm hoping, maybe there'd be different connections and different elements that I'm attracted to.
Well, that's what I said. It would be different.
Personality and everything. Yeah.
It would be different. I mean, it's you're just going to see the person as a different person. It's just the same way as like, my therapist was like, after you have your kid, you're going to need to redefine your relationship. And I was just like, what? And then after we had our kid, I was like, oh shit, things are different.
Yeah.
How did you redefine it? What did that look like?
Being way more intention and way more intentful action. Way more. Like before it was just like, oh, no kids. We could just hang out on the couch and just chill. And like, if we have sex, then we have sex. It's great, whatever. If we just want to go watch a movie outside, we go take a walk, whatever. Then you have kids and you're tired as fuck and you've been working and you're stressed out. I still have to go and say like, let me take the intention to hold something basic shit, like hold your hand, like remember to just hug you or to like surprise you with some random stupid gift or whatever.
What makes you feel loved? Like my wife, it's big time. Can't think tonight. I'm sorry. I had a long day. Anyway, for my wife, it's acts of service. So
Mine
like
too.
acts of service.
You read the 5 love languages?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, but I Googled it.
Like acts of service is very specific.
Yeah, no, it's from the 5 love. My wife and I took like a brief test because we were like wondering
we all did.
It's frustrating. It's funny because
we're good guys. That's why we took it, because we're good guys.
I also think that the way we're oriented, and probably one of the reasons we like business and real estate is that like, okay, get information, make decisions based off information, make actions based. Yeah. So
and let's track this shit. How often are we?
Yeah, like to a degree. And I was just like, and when I do get in conversations with my wife, I'm like, okay, but listen, honey, if you look at this as like the market share, like this is a pie chart, it would proportionally be this much. And now you're disproportionately responding like it's that much. And it's, well, I mean, some things like you said, some things are just more impactful. Just because I do 9 good things and 1 bad thing doesn't mean that 1 bad thing doesn't weigh as much as 5 because it might be more impactful. But yeah, so acts of service was her thing. So I have to be, to your point, very intentional, like and I could be tired and I could be dealing with my daughter and I could be dealing with the dog and, all these other things in life. And you're right though. It's intentional. And like in investing or in sales or whatever else, it's like, even if you don't feel like doing it, you don't have to listen to how you feel. You got to fucking do it.
Yo, can I just say that too? Like people, I don't know I process things differently, but like I try to explain to Abby, But Amara says like that's not a normal thing. But I tried to, like, Abby was having like nightmares, and I was like, Abby, I'm gonna show you the easiest way to do this. I'm like, if you have a nightmare, just try to wake up, open your eyes, look around, and go back to sleep, and just think about something that you want to think about, and that's it. And like sometimes I don't know. For me, it is that easy. Sometimes, like you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and that's one thing I've had to work like is that I don't. People think differently. Don't get me wrong. There's kind of a more normative element to things or whatever. But you're right. What you're doing is your feelings, in my opinion, which I'm not a fucking psychologist. I think your feelings are downstream of what you're focused on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're downstream of your perspective. Right? So that's the glass half full, glass half empty kind of thing. Like if I'm being, purpose and intentionally looking like, oh wow, I have half a glass left. That's awesome. Versus, oh, half my glass is gone. Like you can kind of choose that.
100%.
I think you have to train it a lot.
Yeah.
Of times. You have to be cognizant and aware of it when you're not, and be like, oh, I'm slipping up. Let me, like everything else, it's another rep. I'm in that direction now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think that's a good thing because I think it's like, what are you doing? You're being mindful. You try to wake up. You wake up, and you're being okay. Where am I actually at? Okay, there's actually no threat. Okay, what will make me feel good? Oh, that was a fun movie. When we think about that movie, or that was a fun time at the park, or whatever, and everything else. And yeah, you're just teaching her, in my opinion, you're teaching her how to like be mindful and kind of control her perspective.
Yeah, and like that's what I'm like. Just try to control your thoughts as much, of course, as you can. But like people sometimes, I guess I speak to adults, and sometimes they overcomplicate that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think most people realize they can control.
It's like, oh, I can't sleep because let's remove all chemical and all that shit that could be going on. It's just, just the thoughts like, oh, and then I let it go to this. I'm like, yeah, I know it sounds superficial and like too simple, but just stop. Like, whatever you got to do, just like, that's basically meditation, but like, just stop. Like,
I think you're right, but I also think it's important to remember, like, everybody's brain is so different.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like the chemical part. Yeah, like, but you got to figure out like, your way.
You have a person with like obsessive compulsive disorder.
That's what I'm saying. That chemical aspect, that's different.
It's just so different. Or you have a person with autism, or you have a person.
That's what I'm saying. All that chemical stuff is different.
Any kind of neurodivergence or anything else. Now, granted, there's still great things like CBT therapy. I think it's.
But I'm talking more like finding your meditative state. So what I
do think that's a muscle. I do think that's
what I'm saying. Like I think whatever that is for everybody's gonna be different, but like figuring out how to go to neutral. Like, okay, I'm fucking going crazy. Like, just honey, shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah, I do a little micro.
Dude, I took survival classes, wilderness survival, and one of the coolest things that the instructor Shane, he's fucking amazing, White Feather.
Dope name.
he worked with natives and they gave him a name. So one of the coolest things that he ever taught me, he taught me a lot of cool things, but one of the coolest things was like, I told him like, when I'm camping, especially like, I don't want to be alone and I don't like being not at a campsite. Like if I'm backpacking and it's like in a random place, it's like it gets a little primal, it's a little fucking scary. And I was like, at night, it's just like, it can feel like terrifying.
Vulnerable.
Like, it's like, maybe this primal feeling of what's out there, what's going to attack me. And the one thing that he said was, before, hopefully you're in a place where you're there in the daytime before it's nighttime. And he said the one thing you just want to do, take a moment, just like look around at everything in the daytime. Just look at everything. Just take it all in, process it. Like, oh, there's this tree, oh, this over here, whatever, and visualize it. And anytime at nighttime, when you're in that same place, just remember what it looks like during the day.
You know who does that?
That sounds beautiful.
Most UFC fighters do that. That's so funny.
Really? What do you mean?
Yeah, that's so crazy. So like John Jones, for example, he'll literally, before anyone gets there, he does this before every fight. He goes, before it gets crazy, before all the chaos, he does his intro, he does everything, and he visualizes everything, like his fight, how he expects it to go, like the feelings and all that. But he likes to, and he says it so he, like, in case it gets too crazy, he goes back to that moment as opposed to, that's crazy.
The chaos of the, yeah.
It's really cool. I like that is cool.
I'm hearing you talk, I'm like, fuck, this sounds just like John Jones. Like, Exactly what he said. Like, go to that place before the chaos,
Right.
and just like look at everything. Literally what he says. He's like, I know the announcers are going to be there. The judges are going to be there.
Yeah.
People are going to be there. Like,
I think that was a way like that I transitioned from when I was when I was a kid, not thinking about it consciously but unconsciously, when I used to always want to sleep with all the lights on. I was just like, all the lights have to be on. I can't go to sleep. And then at one point I was like, I don't need the light. Like I know everything here. There's nothing new. There's nothing like weird or scary that's gonna be here. It's just like this is dark. That's it. Same shit.
yeah. That's kind of what I tell Abby. And I'd be like, Abby, if you think there's a monster, just go anytime and just literally turn on the light.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear a messed up story?
Yeah.
Just because you said monster, it has nothing to do with this. Is that
I'll go for it.
All right. So first time father, obviously, is in the habit. Okay. So my daughter was like, I don't know, 14 months old, 15 months old or something like that. Young, maybe 18 months, whatever. So said monster, my stupidity. I'd bring her to my friend's house to play with my friend's daughter, and she's kind of having a good time. She's kind of toddling around, this and that. And my friend who had the daughter also has a little bit older of a son who had this cool, like little shark puppet that had, like jagged teeth and blood or whatever. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but like my daughter was looking at me and playing with the puppet. I was like, right.
Oh.
So, okay. So wait, it gets worse. So she freaks out like, like she thinks this thing's attacking me. And so, and again,
It's funny.
me projecting like, trying to think like, how can I show her it's not a threat? I was like, I realized she was scared and I just wanted to neutralize the situation. So I took it off and I just started punching it and going, like showing like, I got this. And then she was like, wah! Just like more violence. Like, and I just looked at my friend Kelly, who's like much more experienced parent at this point in time. She's like, the fuck are you doing? I was like, I was trying to make her laugh. Didn't make her laugh. Why would it? I don't know why I thought it would. Then when it didn't make her laugh and freaked out, I thought she would think like, oh, it's because it was a threat. Daddy takes care of the threats. No, she just sees
violence.
Beating that up. Like, that was
funny.
Not related at all, but like just dumb parenting mistake I'll never make
cute
again.
Story. Good room to say it, and we all appreciate it.
Is it messed up to think like, first off, the one thing I'll give myself credit for is I try very hard to be a good dad. I try to be present. I take her to school every day. Try to be home for her. I play with her constantly. I want her to eat well, all these things. And I want to encourage her. I'm almost obsessed with her. I love her. And I also want to make sure I don't do that too much so she can grow. Is it messed up to think that like, now that I have another one on the way, I feel like I made a lot of first timer mistakes on the first one. And like now, like, you know what I mean? Like almost like I love them both equally, I'm sure, but like I almost feel like, oh, well, this one's got the benefit of me making the mistakes on the first one.
Yep. That same shit that you were mentioning before, where you were saying like, I don't remember if it was in business necessarily or in real estate, but like that idea of like just being more even keeled now.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just what happens with after the first kid. I remember when the first time my first kid, my son, he had a fever. And I fucking lost my mind. I was like, we are going to the ER right fucking now.
Yeah.
And I was terrified.
Scary.
I was like, and my wife was like, let's go. And my younger brother, who was more like my older brother, he was just like, he also had 6 kids. He was just like, he just has a fever. You're going to go there and sit there for hours. And the only thing they're going to do is give him a little Tylenol, which you could do right now. And I was like, fuck this shit. We're going to the ER. And literally what he said is exactly what happened. And then now with my daughter, it's just like, oh, same shit. Well, wait, what were you talking about? Who was I talking? What's this? I think when I walked in, we were talking about, was it early in the fucking podcast? All the shit is like swimming in my head.
That's 2 hours in.
I think it was the thing about tying shoes.
Oh yeah, that was in the very beginning.
Yeah.
I tie my shoes.
That's good. When did you learn is the question.
Months ago.
Yeah. Because we were saying, and I was like, when my son was learning to tie shoes, I'm like, we got a book and he had to like practice and like doing the practice on his shoes upstairs. And, like with my daughter, she still has like Velcro. I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, you're going to learn this shit eventually and no one else cares either. You don't care. Like, why? And just way more even keel.
Partly, I hope she like sees this. remembers it and trolls you like at a graduation, and she like is like freaking.
If she's still wearing Velcro shoes at graduation,
No, I'm
like,
saying I hope she trolls you on this, and like just something along the lines of like, because my dad was so intent on me tying my shoes, that led to me graduating valedictorian. Like it was his intentions of bringing my precocious potential out to the world, and like just trolling you, just like.
Yeah. Second kids they're fun though. They're funny. The one advantage that I guess to even it out a little bit is that kid is never gonna have you to themselves like your first one did.
Wow.
That makes total sense.
Damn, you made that shit. Yeah, I mean, like you brought that shit down.
Yeah.
That's some truth right there. That's some real truth. That's so.
You know what? That the kid gets a big sister though.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I'm saying
you know
so.
what I mean?
Yeah, like every I think
balances out, but
yeah, it's fun, man.
my daughter doesn't get all of our attention anymore, but she gets a sibling.
Yeah,
you know,
she'll appreciate that
I'm
later.
gonna be the only guy in the house, man. All girls.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I grew up in a house like that, all sisters. Like, sucks. No, like I'm blessed, but like I'm not gonna lie, like you just outnumbered and outvoted on everything.
Yeah.
You know, there's like an in-group bias or something. They're just like, well, mommy wants that. Like my daughter's like that. It's like, mommy wants that.
Yo, is your oh, you're gonna have two girls. I gotta ask you. Like, I thought it was like I always thought like daddy's girl or whatever. Like, I'm cool with Abby, but my bro is Raiden. Like, me and Raiden gravitate to each other more than I thought it was gonna be like Raiden would be like a mama's boy and Abby would.
I don't know where that comes from because my daughter is a mama's girl.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
100%.
saying. Yeah, like Abby and Amaris are like this, and then me and Raiden, like we're just like I guess like organically we just those are the, like I don't know if it's like a kid by kid basis or if it's like was I was that like did someone
I thought that too. Like, did I
Right?
not spend enough time with her or something?
that's what yeah, because I'm like yo, everyone's so
It's probably
nice.
chemistry
Like,
to a degree and proclivities. I'm like,
Interesting.
I don't know. What do you think,
Well-
Prince? You have older kids. What are your experience?
I think like everything else is going to fluctuate.
Yeah.
And I think like whatever it is now, it may be different later. And maybe,
That's a good point.
yeah, on average, there is one, one weighs a little bit heavier than the other. But I think it also goes back to intention too, because with my daughter, like I always wanted a daughter. Like I was I just always wanted a daughter. And yeah, when she was born, she just like as an infant, like you both probably know this already. Like
I was
like
born.
babies, that's thank God. Babies have personalities, which I didn't think
Yeah.
that was even possible. But she just didn't like being held definitely not by me, but almost like by anyone except my wife.
Yeah, my daughter still doesn't like being around like men. Like she just doesn't really like men, doesn't trust them, which I'm like, cool. Like,
Yeah. And that, I mean, like, it's kind of interesting because, like, as an adult, like, I would think that I'd be able to process emotions as an adult, but it, like, hurt my feelings. So, like, I was actually, like, a little, like, damn, like, you're an infant. Like, you should like anyone holding you. You just don't even like your own dad holding you. But, like,
I had that a lot too with my daughter.
yeah. Were you also crying in the corner like I was?
I didn't do it in the corner.
Oh.
on the open.
I was a man about it.
Everyone's gonna hear my cries.
But like over time, what I did was I was intentional. That's when we decided to actually have time with each of our kids separately. So like we intentionally we take days where it's like it's just me and Charlotte, or just me and Grayson, or the same thing with my wife, so that we can develop a relationship with the kids that's not like our parents are this. It's
That's
like,
cool.
no, dad is this, mom is this, together they're this other thing.
That's cool. Gives them more options too, depending on the situation. You might want dad or mom or both or whatever else. That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And like, and even, so I'm going to Atlanta tomorrow, and even like my daughter, even sitting at the dinner table today, she was like, Melissa was like, oh yeah, dad's going to be gone for a few days. She was like, oh, dad's going to be gone. He's going to be gone forever. It's like 2 days is a long time. And I'm like, I think, like I feel like the work that I put in like did something good, so
I'm gonna be missed,
right.
Yeah,
And I will tell you right now, like, I don't know what you were talking about earlier, but there was something that you were talking about with family. And I just have this vision and there's this feeling like I could get like choked up. Like the experience of me walking with Charlotte and having her reach for my hand is like nothing else in this world.
Yeah,
Like nothing else in this fucking world. I will give everything up for that feeling. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, when my daughter jumps in my arm, like she wants to jump for hugs, and she just
Yeah.
wraps her whole legs and everything around me. I'm like, whoa, you so much.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Like, but she does often tell me she doesn't love me, and that's not a
Uh-huh.
joke. Like I'll be like, I love you, Val. She'll go, I love mommy, like all the time, and I'm like, Daddy loves you. No, just mommy, and I'm like, okay, you can love more. I'm like, what about grandma? Oh, I love grandma.
Yeah, oh, grandma's good. She's cool.
Like, yeah, no, I love grandma.
Not you,
Not
buddy.
all the time, and like rare occasions, there's been a few times, and it's sad because she's like 3.5, and like there's been a few times where I'll hear like my wife's putting her up to bed or something. She goes, "I love you, Daddy," and I'm just like, like it just melts me. I mean, I know we play all the time. She wants like to give me when I come home. Not always, but sometimes a good amount of times. Daddy runs up and wraps around me like it's the best. But yeah, no, she loves mommy.
Well, I think all that stuff changes, you know, and like one of the things that parents with older kids tell me all the time is like, you know, like you're if you live long enough, you're gonna experience more of your offspring, your kid. They're not kids at that point anymore, but you're gonna experience more of your kids as adults than you will as kids.
I
And
think
so,
about
like,
that all the time. That's why I was
Yeah.
saying, like, if I'm gonna work, I think I'm just gonna wait to work later when
Yeah.
they're already kind of leaving, because I'm like, I don't pick up, you know, I can't remember the last time I picked up Abby. So now anytime she'll ask me, or if she's like sleeping in the car seat before I would wake her up, now I pick her up every time.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you're good. You can sleep on me, because I'm like, I'm not gonna be like, I don't pick her up anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's weird. And how old is she now?
She's 5, but she's tall as fuck. She's the tallest kid in her class.
Yeah.
So she, you know, like,
I've never had that issue.
I guess I haven't seen her in a while.
she's tall as fuck.
Wow.
Really, how tall are you?
I'm just 5'10".
Yeah,
But Amaris's family's tall. Like her dad is like 6 something. Like they're
that's like my wife's family. Yeah,
Interesting.
so, but yeah, Abby's tall. So I just that also, I say that because that's gonna lessen my fucking timeline on how much more I can pick her up.
Yeah.
You know?
It's real. It's a real
pick me
thing.
up if you want.
No, no, I'll pick her up.
It's a
whatever.
different-
It's her. She like the more she feels like grown up,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the less she's like don't pick me up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like stop.
No, it's hard because like this is gonna sound kind of corny, but like I'm not gonna lie, man. With a lot of songs on the radio or whatever, or when I'm going through playlists or something like that, I will often picture like this song with like my daughter in one capacity or another. Oftentimes, like it's like when she gets married and like what it's gonna be like having that daddy daughter dance and everything else. And like, yeah, man, it's weird in a good way. Like I try to remember when Christine was pregnant. I was asking people like, so what's it like? And oftentimes I would hear like, oh, it's so much love. It's so much love. And maybe one person said it's like a love you never experienced before or something. It's not like love you experienced, but then more. The way I try to explain to people is it's kind of like colors. There's different colors. Like you love your mom very differently than you love your wife, very differently than you love, maybe a friend, and if one's red, one's blue, one's yellow, it's a completely different color of love. Like, damn, is it a vibrant, powerful color? It's insane, but it's not like a love you've experienced times 10. It's just a completely different experience.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have words like exactly.
Yeah,
like
it's ineffable.
Yeah, whatever the fuck it is, it's weird. It's so weird.
Yeah. I thought I was so Melissa signed us up.
We're keeping her.
Nice.
That's good. That's a good thing. All right. But Melissa signed us up for a daddy-daughter dance, which I thought was going to be like walking into a weird, like, fucking, like, religious cult situation. I was just like, this sounds really strange. And, like, with my upbringing, it was just like, it just felt like a little gross. And I was like, I shouldn't say my upbringing. I should say my childhood experiences. And then I went and it was fucking amazing. So fucking good. It was so good.
The
It was
DJ?
The pigs in a blanket, amazing. No, I mean, like, she was so happy, and like we were just dancing. It was just
Isn't it
amazing.
weird? It's like I don't know. You guys probably feel the same way. Nothing. I feel like nothing makes you happier than just seeing them happy.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild. Like, I just get so much joy from seeing her feel joyful. And also, the other side of things, it hurts me when she's sad. Like when she's crying for something, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I feel that. I think that's stronger. I could, maybe I'm full of shit, but I think seeing her happy makes me happy, but I don't think it makes me as like seeing her sad or mad or like seeing any pain in her. I feel it more than when the love, like than the happiness.
I think me too.
You know, like I remember the first time she got picked on like live in front of me. I was like, it was in a jiu-jitsu class and another dude's kid was picking on her. And I'm like, yo, I'm like, I gotta calm down because I'm about to fuck the father up. Yeah. And then I feel like grabbing the kid by the collar. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, and I left because I was like, yo, I'm like, I'm not gonna talk to Abby about it, not yet, because I'm just seeing red, and I see him, and it got nothing to do with him. But I'm like, yo, check your kid, bro, because I'm gonna fuck you up.
Right.
And it might have been an overreaction, but I was just like, okay, like this.
How does she deal with it though?
She did her thing. She was like, I told Abby, like, I leave the last step open-ended.
What's the last step?
I kind of leave it open-ended. So I'll be like, you do whatever you think is necessary. Like, I'll give her steps. I'll be like, hey, Abby, just, you know, maybe I don't hear you. Speak a little more firm. Be like, hey, excuse me. I asked you to stop touching me or stop touching my stuff. I'm like, then after that, maybe speak to an adult that's in charge in the room. If that's not present, then, you know, hold a little more firm, speak to them a little more firmly. And then I'm like, by the fourth option, then like, you just do what you think you got to do. And she was like, what does that mean? And I kind of be like, I don't know. Like, you know, I can't tell you.
In the eye.
Yeah, I'll leave that. But if she tells me she did all those steps and like there was no one else to protect her, then I'm like, I know she won't understand. I can't tell her like if you need to be violent, you're gonna need to be violent. But I'm like, can't teach her at that age.
You don't want to blanket permanent because she might understand the nuance.
She's just gonna go. She's gonna go red right away.
But otherwise, open ended, she kind of makes that a decision for herself.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like coach afterwards. Like, okay, so here's what was the context. All right, maybe too much, maybe too little.
Yeah.
But you're also not there, so you're leaving open ended might be kind of wise.
I think for now,
I can relate to that to one degree because my daughter was at the playground and. First off, I will say I do think, and I'm sure I'm not perfect either. I want to give grace, but man, like sometimes when kids are acting up a certain way, especially like a public setting, like in like a playground where a bunch of kids are playing, you're putting other kids at risk. I'm kind of like, where the fuck is your parent? Like, where's your dad? I'm like, I'm not mad at the kid. I'm mad at the
always.
Where the fuck is your? So there's these kids there, on this jungle gym. It's like a 3-story jungle gym and stuff like that, throwing like legit rocks, like real rocks. So my daughter was in the bottom, and they're up top throwing rocks down and stuff like that, and. It got kind of close, and my wife had to like calm me down because I was literally, and I said it out loud. I was like, I didn't scream it, but I was like, where the fuck is this kid's dad? Where the fuck is this kid's parent? And my wife's like, you know, like thinking that like they might hear, but good. I want you to hear me. Where the fuck are you? Why
you should be embarrassed. I want you, like, right? It's like I want you to be embarrassed. Actually, not your wife. Like I want the person whose kid is doing. I want them to feel a little bit of embarrassment. Like what the fuck?
Address me. Like just say like that's my. Like if you have a problem with it, then I can. Good. Now we can work this out. Listen, your kid's throwing rocks. Do you think that's acceptable here? And you're like, well, it's a playground. I'm like, if they're gonna back it, first off, I'll take my daughter to the situation, but. If they hit my kid, I'm like, okay, cool. There's consequences. I'm gonna hit you. Yeah. Now, obviously, I like.
Of course, you don't want it to.
I like to think cooler heads to prevail. I exit the situation if that happens. You know, I'd like to think I'd do the responsible thing. But
I don't want to be tested.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I don't want.
I don't want to be put in that.
I'll get really hooked.
I don't want to be put in that spot.
And do I really want other kids to see me fight somebody's?
No, of course, no.
So no, I don't think I would do that. But like your primitive side of me,
exactly.
Like,
and it's just that shit came out, and I was like, oh shit, like I was ready to, and he was just there, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna fuck you up. Like I couldn't hear the lesson anymore. Like I just left. I was like, I'm like, this is the first time. regardless, whatever response I think is right is probably wrong because it's the first time. I'm like, let me just remove myself. Literally grab my stuff calmly, left, and I just like processed it. I was proud of Abby. I spoke to her about it. I'm like, I saw he was picking on you. You saw that I was kind of busy with the class.
And you also gotta let her have that. I know it sounds shitty, but when I think about those things and I get like, because I don't want anything to hurt my daughter, but then I also realize like, look, I've had bullying experiences on myself. And some of them, even though very unpleasant and led to negative emotion, in a lot of ways, like it also led to empathy. It also led to growth, it led resilience,
to savviness, to knowing how to adapt to environments, things that our fucking privileged ass kids are not going to experience unless we kind of, like you said, create.
You gotta give them space.
You gotta put them in those situations.
Yeah, so as painful as it is to watch, it's almost selfish to rob them of shitty experiences sometimes.
I mean, you're touching on a big subject that we might not have time, but that is a big problem with fucking kids being raised nowadays. Is that idea?
Avoid my emotional discomfort when I'm doing things for her.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, and that's what a lot of parenting is based on right now. It's that idea. It's not that that the kids are soft. It's that the fucking parents are soft, so they don't want to deal with these things that we're talking about. So they're like, nah, I'd rather save my kid because I don't want to deal with the emotions attached to it.
Yes.
Right? It's not has nothing to do with
or I don't want to deal with like the frustration that comes along with tempering that behavior.
Yeah.
Because that's hard for me.
100%.
It's easier just to let it happen or whatever else.
Yeah.
It's easier just to put a screen in front of them, yada, yada, yada.
For sure.
But it's interesting how it kind of goes both ways, because they're also the parents of the rock throwers who don't give a flying fuck, and they're just like letting their kids do whatever the fuck they care.
That's my point, though, because they realistically they know better.
The kids are the parents.
The parents, but also it takes a lot of time, energy, and you have to have more will than your child. Essentially, more patience than them. Like it takes a lot of.
That is a statement where
touched on something crazy right there.
That statement needs to be like put on a plaque. Like you have to have more will than your child, and that is a hard thing to come by.
Let me just say, our will is going in so many directions.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Let me say one thing, and that's the one piece of advice I give my buddy who's having a kid, his first kid. He's like, I'm like, the only thing I'm gonna tell you is the way you earn their respect is that you choose anything you want, but you go to war on one thing. To show them that your will is large, it will be always because if you don't choose at least one thing, they're not gonna
hear this, Melissa.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
And sometimes
I was literally telling her that today. I was like,
it's not a lot, just one.
I was like, so yes, the night before the kids were going buck wild, and she asked me like, why do they listen to you more than they listen to me? I'm like, because you are letting shit, you will let shit slide. And then she said like the other night, she was like, if you guys make one more sound, you're in trouble. And of course they like making little sounds. If they did that shit with me
this time,
I would be like in there like flipping over.
And
my
threats come with actionable things. So it's like
I had that conversation with my wife before I came here tonight, but go ahead.
No, I just like, for example, I'll be like,
but
Abby,
I'm too extreme apparently because I was gonna.
No,
and by the way, you need that sometimes. Maybe pull you back. Sometimes I get too crazy, but you want to show them that you have the will.
Exactly.
I told Abby, oh, you want to take a break from eating because you're not hungry? I'm like, I'm gonna tell you something right now. That's fine. We'll wait all night. But you're not touching anything else until you eat this whole plate. I don't care if it's cold. I'm not heating up. You're gonna eat this today. And trust me. And what happened? I told the married, I was like, I'm going to war today for this.
That's what.
You have these battles. But it's crazy because you become. For one, they respect you more.
Yeah.
And now because they respect you more, they like love you more. They listen to you more.
Their life is easier because the boundaries are firm.
Exactly.
Their life is easier because it's not, can I test this? Can I do this? It's just. There's no straining or stress or anxiety about it. It's like, this is what it is.
Yep.
We're like again, my daughter listens to me way better than she listens to my mom. My wife's a great mother.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm just saying, like, my daughter listens to me more. My wife, like the context of the conversations, like I was like, she just wasn't listening to her, wasn't listening. And she's like me, man, constantly was like testing boundaries and like having, like, she loves and thinks it's funny to antagonize people.
Yeah.
Like I love joking with people, like antagonizing in like a playful way. She does too. And she'll do that to my wife, and my wife gets worked up, and it's frustrating because I love my daughter and I love my wife. I want to see them get, and I was like, Valerie, one more time, you go to your room.
That's it.
And my wife was like, no, my wife was like, you can't threaten her like that. And I was like, what do you mean? Like,
it's not a threat. It's a promise.
Yeah.
That's my point. I said, it's not. That's what I said. It's not a threat. It's a boundary I'm drawing. That if she does this, then she goes to her. Now, I'm not going to block her. I was going to bring her to a room, sit with her, whatever.
You don't punch her in the face?
Yes.
Fucking.
I like it.
No, but for real though, but then we compromised. She was like, well, how about just a timeout then? And I was like, okay. But like, again, it's like, I feel like this situation would happen way less if the boundaries are
clear, very clear.
And therefore there'd be less stress for her.
Right.
Less stress for us.
Exactly.
Because the boundaries are fucking clear.
I will say to your point, sometimes, Melissa, if you're watching, it is good to be brought back into like a softer space.
Goes too dark.
But I will say, I'll add this in there too. I think we're all clearly in agreement on this topic. I'll add in there that I also do the same thing with like with my what's the word, like honesty on things.
Yeah,
like I told my son, for example, I told Grayson, so our family motto is that we do hard things.
By the way, I adopt that. My wife says that to my daughter all the time. I told her about it, and whenever Valley's having trouble, it's like, we can do hard things. We do hard things.
Wow.
I adopted it.
What are the odds? I will show you I will send you guys a picture of my board. There are 4 things that we have to do every day. And one of those things,
I may have gotten it from you. I don't doubt that at all. But we literally have family bands that are purple that it says PB Fam does hard things.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So in light of that, Grayson, he does jujitsu tournaments, which is just like, you talk about like watching your kid go through something that is like more hurtful to you than it is to them. I'm just like, holy fucking shit. Like, I'm terrified. Like, these kids are trying. Yeah, I'm like, oh, what if he doesn't tap too soon? What if they don't realize that he's trying to tap and they break his fucking, I'm just like, anyways. But so for better or worse, he does really well. Right. And so I don't want him like in his school, he's the best, right? Like that's just a fact. Like, and I want him to have adversity. So I don't want him to be the best all the time. So that's why I like that he does the tournaments, because people are better than him there sometimes, And so in the last one that he did, he was going against this kid, and this kid was just fucking like, it was a really, really good match, but the kid had the edge on him, and he lost. And after it was over, like, I don't think a lot of people understand. Like, I don't even know if I truly understand, because I'm not on the mat, but I've been in the arena before, so I know what it, like what those types of things feel like. But some people always are like, when the kid comes out crying, they're like, oh my God, like, oh no, like hug and all this stuff. I'm like, they're crying because it takes a lot out of you to do something like that, physically and emotionally. And when you win, you're probably getting such a fucking dump of endorphins. And when you lose, you're getting another dump of chemicals, and it's just overwhelming. So yeah, you're going to cry, you're going to shake, you're going to be like, oh, fuck.
It's also so personal. Like, not only are you putting so much physical and emotional energy into it, and you work so hard, it's very emotional, because it's like, it's not like a team sport where like your team,
no, it's not.
And you have a bunch of
it's
people next
you.
to you,
it's
and
all you.
It's you.
And everybody's looking at you.
You gave it everything. That guy gave it everything, and his everything was better than your everything.
Right.
And that's a very, very humbling experience.
Yeah, and a lot of the times when kids are like crying like that, it's one of the few times, because it's early on, right? Like, even me, like when I when
you cry.
Yeah, no.
But
like when you go hard at something and fail versus you just fail at something, like when you go hard, you're like, you feel this shame, like you feel like everyone's looking at you,
inadequacy, like I wasn't enough,
like, yo, I gave it all I had and
it didn't work,
failed, son. That means like there was nothing left in the tank, and I failed.
What a good thing to get used to.
Yo,
no, but here's the kicker, right? Where it comes down to this transparency.
Bro. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
sucks.
It does suck.
I think
It
it's
does
hard
suck.
for talented kids too, because with talented kids, they don't get that opportunity
Exactly.
as much.
Right. Exactly. And
very
people are always
impactful.
telling them that they're the best and they're this and they're that. And the thing is, in this situation was like, I built up a lot of trust. I hope that I've built up a lot of trust with my kids in not being the parent who's like, this is the best mug you've ever. They should put this on fucking the website right now of the best things on the planet. I'm like, this is all right. This is okay.
My wife gets so mad.
I'm like, or I might
do
be
that all
like,
the time.
this shit sucks. What were you doing? Like, what is this?
You know what they're capable.
And because I've done that throughout their whole lives, like my daughter, she loves art. She makes art all the time. And sometimes it is amazing. And other times I'm like, you didn't even try on this, right? No, Dad. All right, well, let's throw this shit in the trash. Or actually, you throw it in the trash, which my coworkers ragged on me for making my daughter do that. But anyways,
I make that.
the point is though that because of that, when I tell them something, I trust and believe that it means something, that they believe me.
Yes,
and I told him
it's your currency.
Yeah, right, exactly. And it's the value of it,
Yeah.
right? And so like I told him after he lost to that kid, I was like, I am so unbelievably proud of you, because like you were out there, like even the other team was like, people were coming up to it. I was so glad there was a witness. Thank you, God. Like I was telling him, like, I'm so proud of you because you tried so hard and you almost had him. If there were fucking 30 seconds more to that match, he would have won. And I thank God there's proof in it. People from the other side were coming up to him afterwards and saying, if there was more time in that match, you had him. You would have fucking won. And I was like, yes. Because I want him to know that when I say that, like my word is my bond with especially with them. You know, it's like if I say something, I mean it. It's not like a time where it's just like and I told him that in the moment. I was like, I'm not gonna give you fluff. I'm not gonna tell you did a good job and you if you didn't.
We're the approximation for the real world.
Yeah.
You're raising that's the approximation for a real world.
What do you mean by that?
Like what I mean by that is like the real world doesn't like, I think to a degree you're kind of setting their expectations up and everything else. If everything you do is great, everything's amazing, everything's good, blah, blah, blah. The proverbial real world, whatever, that's not how it is.
They don't give a shit.
It's oftentimes
kick you in the teeth and
you didn't get the job. Your underwriting wasn't correct.
Exactly.
Whatever. It's like it's a constant thing. And man, like I don't want to deprive my kids of the opportunity of experiencing that. The only reason I think I would is to protect myself in a lot of ways, or to protect like, I want her to like me and I want her all this other stuff. My dad really said this well. He was always like, I got so mad at him because I was like, I was probably like 10 or 11. And my other friends, you know, they're friends with their dads and blah, blah, and this and that. And my dad was like, Paul, like my duty is not to be your friend. My duty is to prepare you to be a productive member of society. If we're friends, that'd be great. I'd like that. But that's not my job. My job is to prepare you. Afterwards, if we're friends, I hope that cool.
Yeah.
But I'm doing you essentially saying like, I'm doing you a disservice if that's what I put first.
Right.
If I put our friendship before your readiness for the world, I'm doing you a disservice. And I think like, I was going to say like also with your son's case, it sounds like he also had the moral victory. Cause like to me, the most important part is like, wow, you fucking gave it your all. Like the consequences, there's going to be failures, there's going to be wins, and hopefully you stack more wins, and that's amazing. You get the action itself is the fight you put on, fight. Holy shit, I'm so proud. I don't care. Like me personally, I can imagine my kid. Like I'd rather see them fight like hell and lose than kind of phone it in and win. Right. I'd almost think you're just you're reinforcing something that's like not a cool. Like, I'd rather see them lose, but be in the right action place. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and to take it even to the next level there, what I tell him all the time is like, when you step onto that mat, what happens on the mat is what happens on the mat. Everything that happens there is going to come from everything you did before you step onto the mat. So if you're fucking around and you're not practicing or you don't feel like it today or whatever, you're not going to put in that extra time, it's going to show up when it's time to fucking put up, you know? And it's like,
it's also treated as like one of the, it's like, I mean, I haven't competed a lot in jiu-jitsu. I've done a couple times, but like, I think one of the healthier ways in hindsight to look at it, and maybe this is robbing you of some things, but I think one of the healthy ways to look at it might be like, it's really not a win-lose. It's almost like an experiment where it'll show you where you're weak and need to improve. It'll show you where you're strong, and that's it. It's kind of like it's like a beta test. It's like you're testing. Oh, this is what I've been working on. This is what I'm practicing. Let's go try it. And okay, it's in a safe environment. It turns out my defense to triangle chokes wasn't what I thought it was. And then dude, you better believe you're probably working on it next time. Like,
but that's exactly why I don't like that he's the best, because he's not going to get to grow because he's always just tapping people in 5 seconds.
That's Ronny, I bet you.
Fuck him. That's outliers. But you know what's another thing too? That like the reason why you can do that is because of the time put in too. Like all of this that we're talking about all consists like us willing to go to war with these, because all that what we're really saying in a dramatic way is we're putting time in to try to, you know, help, like we're willing to do whatever it takes to help our kids improve and whatever we're trying to.
I got to get a little better at that. Like I can be a little softer sometimes. And again, I think it's because like, I think a kid needs a mom and a dad. I really do. I think that's like the best case. I think that's the most ideal case scenario.
I have this discussion with people all the time. I'm like, look, I like 100%. This is right. Not considering all the fuckery that happens in this world, but if a kid can have mom and dad, 100%
ideal. I'm not saying it can't be done.
And there's going to be a bunch of examples like that. Why that? Like there's like there's tons for sure. Yeah, but.
Like seriously, great example. Like I think you're fucking awesome. Like,
but I think that people sometimes say like, "Oh, you're a great dad." I'm like, yeah, but I learned that just like I do as a manager at work. Like I learned it from not having a dad. Like I think about all the things that I wish that I had, and I do all that shit.
You implement. So yeah, exactly.
I think I can be a little. Maybe it's because maybe it's the culture of the world or whatever. Maybe it's a little bit of like. Not respecting that my wife and I could just disagree, and maybe I try to lean towards compromise sometimes too much. Whereas, like with the art picture, I could see myself like I'll make jokes about like she'll be like, yeah, and I'll be like, yeah, it's blue because like all it is just blue, and I'm like it's whatever. But I think I could see myself leaning towards finding something like did you put it like maybe asking a question like did you put a lot of effort into it? Yeah, I love that you put effort into it, so I could say something nice without being dishonest. However. Maybe that's not the best way either. Maybe it is more objective and kind of just like blunt sometimes. I don't know. I mean, I haven't had that many opportunities. She's not that old yet, but I do think again, even with your thing, like I'm firm about it in general, extremely firm generally. But there's been times where I'm like, Valerie, she knows when I count to 3, she almost always runs back. But there's been a couple of times she'll test it and I'll go 2. And I'm like, come on, Valerie, this is your last chance. I should, maybe just go 3. All right, I warned you. Let's go. We're going upstairs. Or, you know what I mean? I think sometimes I extend it a little bit and she operates in that pushing the envelope kind of like realm.
Mm-hmm. That's all kids
more than I should have. Probably a little more than I should have because I get great responses, but it's not perfect. They're going to kind of act the way you tolerate them acting, I feel like. To a degree. They're also kids. But I'm saying like to a degree, they're kind of going to get away with what they can. So if you broaden that, now, granted, you don't want to be a fucking nut job either and just like have robot children. They need to explore certain things.
What I see is like, I'm going to create boundaries, and within those boundaries I create, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yes.
That's how I see it. I'm not going to control how you play within those boundaries I created. That's when it gets too far. But you just create certain boundaries, certain rules, and anything you do, I love it. When I make a rule and I fucked up and they're exploiting it, I'm like, right? It's like
so creative,
savvy motherfuckers. Like I love it. Like I'm gonna pay the price, but like fuck, that was smart.
It's almost like hard to get mad at.
Yeah,
like with my wife.
Well, you want those skills, so like that. I think about that too. Like I'm like Ronny, remember, you want these skills. Like when Abby asked me something, like a smart ass question. Like fucking asshole, but I'm like, but that's smart that you thought outside the box. Like I'm gonna fucking entertain this and fuck it, we're gonna run with it.
I get a little accepting because I find it hilarious when my daughter's like trolling me.
I love that.
I'm like, I know I should like respect, but also I'm like, fuck, that is funny.
I love all of that, man. Like I want to create like fucking kids have dealt with adversity, like savvy kids. To your point, one of the things I love doing is if Abby makes a joke and it's not funny, I'll tell her what, like hey, just a heads up, that's not funny. Like, just so you know. But now she's funny as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like you said, because you've kind of gained that, like, that now, like, it means something. If I'm like, oh, I'm like, good shit.
Yeah.
And she's like, that was funny. I'm like, yeah, because, you know, you had a premise and you did this and, like, you knew that I like this. You threw me off. And she's like, and so she's taking, like, mental notes.
Mhm.
So, like, Amaris's friends, like, don't mind her being around. Because she has, like, she's pretty, like, savvy and, like, navigating with conversations and stuff. So,
Question for you and you, because
Yeah.
you would know way better than I
guys,
would.
we got to wrap it up. So.
All right, last question. I hear kids are more resilient than you think. Do you think, in that regard, do you think you risk, like, when you're honest and all this other stuff? I always think you should be honest, but like when you're more blunt about things, do you think you risk crushing their spirit when it comes to certain attempts at things?
Here's how I see it.
Fuck 'em.
The
I'm just
more
kidding.
the more objective and the more the more objective you are, the more you have to love them on the other side.
Averages again.
So
Like Prince was saying.
I that's how I balance it out. So if I gave her some real tough shit, like
Did I
about
break
something,
this?
yeah, but it's fine. I got a bunch. They break all the time.
Oh.
So if I give her a harsh truth, I also like will give her extra love too, so she knows, like, hey, like, you know, almost like, so she knows I don't have to tell her, I just show her, but like, hey, I also love you a lot, like, you know, like, that's how I kind of play it. So
Yeah, but I'm telling you this because I love you.
Yeah,
I want you to.
but I don't tell her
And-
because I feel like it won't really
Show her?
Yeah, just show her, because like those will get implanted more
Oh, shit.
at her age. It will get implanted more than you telling her. You know what I'm saying? She'll just have a feeling, and she'll be like, she'll feel like a sense of like safety. Like I just kind of exposed her maybe a little too much or something. Like maybe she did work hard at this art piece, and I just shitted on her. You know, so like I'm like, okay.
Also taking things in context, like Prince said, did you kind of, like, you could tell she phoned it in that one. Like, did you?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, there's also, you get to know your kid
Mhm.
too, and the more you spend time with them, the more you'll kind of know their capabilities. Like, did you?
That's the theme, by the way. Just putting time in.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
been the theme the whole tonight, with everything.
Yeah.
Just
Speaking of
put-
time, we put like almost 3 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh shit, I get the time. I'm like, I got a fucking
Yeah.
6 a.m. gym sesh.
Brah, getting swell.